Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love once again. Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to Chats with Jack. I forgot to drop the link. Golly geez, man. Well, there we go. For those who wish to join today, please, the link is pinned, and I'm excited again today. I did click the go live a few minutes early, so thank you to all of you who have been tuning in, who are tuning in today, and maybe even just checking it out later. You know, I saw the milestone, the 1500. You know, I feel good, man. And as I understand, it's been going up and down, chaos. And I was thinking about this as I was getting ready today. What am I here to do? I'm here to present me, right? There's a story behind that, but I'm here to present me, and I know how I come across, man. There's people who love me, there's people who hate me. There's people who are entertained by me. There's people who are annoyed by me. There's people who are confused by me. And there's people who understand me. Sometimes I fall into all those groups. But, brothers and sisters, I genuinely thank all of you, right, for allowing me some facts and evidence to feel loved. So, and that is what this life is about, man. I've been, sometimes the truth is obvious, and sometimes it actually requires someone else to explain it to connect the dots that you already know. And I don't know if this was a new dot being connected or just part of my day, but I've been swinging back into some of the things that I've looked at before, trying to remember more of the concepts and more of the details, the vocabulary regarding, right, how our minds work, the neurosciences and the chemicals we produce. But most recently, Stoicism. The old philosophy that, as I understand, it was like emerging and growing the same time as the Christ. And that, if that's true, and I could be off, but you know what? These wisdoms, these ways of explaining how to live, they've been around for a long time. So I've been looking into Stoicism again, and some of the explanations on that. The value of virtue. I mean, this was something that this is what connected the dots for me. Someone else explained it themselves that it seems the ideas and perspectives, the thought processes found in Stoicism would be, could be, but it sounds like evidence shows it is valuable in helping Christians better practice their faith. And, and that's what connecting the dots, right? If our children were actually taught the truth of virtue and controlling their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, and and if the greater community of people around the world, if they understood faith and forgiveness and I'm starting a future trip, thinking about a future of humanity where people genuinely, openly cared and shared the truth freely. Like, someone learns something new and then shares it in the community because, hey, it helps the community too. I don't know. I just know our world can change. Our world is changing. And brothers and sisters, if this is real, if this life is real that we're living, and I'm actually on this YouTube thing, if this is really where my life has brought me, then maybe it's true that there's a guy named Joe Biden who's being driven around and told what to say while he's in the position of president. If that stuff is true and there's like wars going on all around, holy cows, man. This world. I mean, the thought that came is the world is wrong, but the world is just how it's supposed to be. I mean, that's the idea of Stoicism, is nothing moves me. You know what? I won't say that because, golly geez, I know the universe will bring me tests. I've been growing and allowing less things to move me, against my choice. So I allow the joyful emotions to be shared, and I try to withhold the negative ones. I really, truly do. And doing so, brothers and sisters, actually helps me feel better about being me. And what if that's the whole goal of this life? For you to grow into a greater version of you with more comfort, more confidence. Welcome. Youtellme. Good to see you, brother. You still getting set up? I'm gonna bring you back up maybe in a little bit. Well, there you are. You froze.
It's breaking up a little bit, Jack.
Yeah.
It's breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep, but you're in and out.
How you doing,
welcome
Jack?
I'm feeling blessed. Because of the connection, you might want to kill the video, but pay attention to the road, of course.
I'll be honest with you, Jack. You sound like an android coming through. I don't think I have a good connection. So I'm going to pop out. I'll hop back in, brother.
That sounds good. Thank you. And actually, the timing is wonderful. We've got a couple of guests. Welcome back, J-Hub, and
praise God.
Amen. And welcome, brother Unslavius.
Jack, what do you got going on over here today, man? What's going on?
Finding milestones is the topic, and actually, it wasn't included in the topic, but started out with Stoicism and Christianity, bringing those ideas together.
Now, rather than look for something you're probably not going to find within your own life, which is milestones, maybe we search for gallstones, kidney stones, other kind of stones that may be beneficial for your health. I suspect it. I suspect it. Sorry, Jack. You know what? Let's get back to the topic. I don't want to belabor the point. I'm trying to help out here.
I know. Hey, I never thought 1,500 subscribers was something I wanted, and then I saw it was there. I was like, holy crap, that's pretty cool, man.
Now, how much did that cost exactly?
Well, I invested in Moose. I've made quite a bit of investments.
All right, well, if it pays off and you see the live numbers up and contributions up and people's lives change to what you're doing over here, then I mean, I can hate and anyone else can hate all they want, but it's not going to change the facts of the matter and the results. That's why I always say, Jack, don't say the results don't matter. You're tricking yourself out of position. They do matter. You can't say results don't matter, then come on and say you hit a milestone, 1,500 subscribers. Results matter.
How well, the note I made is a milestone. It's a point of progress. It's a point of reference. It's just okay. Shows me, these steps have brought this, so the next steps should logically bring greater. That's the idea.
Like Jack, kind of like what Paul's saying. So if like the results, right? If Jesus just came out here and said, love everybody, right? It wouldn't have been received the same way if he wasn't out here doing miracles. You get what I'm saying? That's why people care, because of all the miracles, that they wrote about, right? So it's
I know.
That's
I know.
the kind of key to all of it, and that's the journey that everybody's really on, whether they want to believe it or not.
What's the journey we're on? I'm sorry. I may have my mind drifted. Well,
no, I'm saying to actually not just believe in it, to actually produce the results to show what you're saying. Like for me, like just me and my personal life, Jack, I got married when I was young. I wasn't really ready to be a husband, but I chose a wife who I'm trying to figure the best way to say this. she applied pressure on me when I needed it, right? Because I wasn't the person who I needed to be, right? So that's everybody's real journey, is to kind of prove that's like a wife's job, is to kind of check you and say, you know what I'm saying, if you say you this person, she with you every day, you know what I'm saying? She verifying you are that person, right? So that's what everybody kind of looks at on a bigger scale, is kind of, that verification to kind of validate whatever it is that's being promoted or said. Like if, like you say, Jesus is love, that's cool, but without the miracles, nobody would have cared. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would have believed. Just because you say, love is the answer, or love is the way, without the miracles, nobody even pays attention,
J-Hub, you are absolutely right. That is the common mindset. And this is the true life hurdle I'm facing. This is where it's been frustrating for me. But if I had people from my past come forth, the people who were next to me seeing my disease of alcoholism and how unhealthy I was truly living, if I had someone come forth and accept who I am today, well, holy shit, there'd be a witness of a miracle transformation that, it's nothing amazing, world changing or anything like that. But then the other part too is, in my path, God's allowed me to learn from these people. You familiar? I don't remember who I've spoken with on what subject, but you familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza and his work?
Give me a book that he wrote. I'm pretty sure I got a book in my library right here. But what's his most famous book?
I honestly can't think of the book
Or
title.
if he didn't have a book, he had speeches or something. That name. Go ahead. I'll look it up. Go ahead. I don't want to break your thought.
His expertise is in thoughts and neurosciences, and his groups, his events, people are literally there's many testimonies of miraculous healings, transformations that are resulting from what he's teaching, what he's doing. You got it?
Yeah. What's this? Joe Dispenza right here.
Amen. Amen.
I ain't opened
I,
it. I ain't gonna lie and act like I read it, but I bought it. I
I
probably heard somebody talk about it and ordered it on Amazon. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read his books, but I've listened to enough of his not enough. I've listened to many of his lectures and looked into a lot of the things that he's been teaching. He does a lot of work with the Heart Math Institute. What these things are doing, all of these practices are the modern day science that's showing the power of our minds and our hearts. And that's where miracles are happening. And this is where my frustration is as well, because I don't have results. I've had very few people even investigate some of the people I'm suggesting who explain this stuff far better than me. They've got the accreditation, they've got the results. I'm saying their stuff my way. And it's not just their stuff, but you're right, man. Miracles would be helpful. If I had something to show people, I feel that I do, but it hasn't been working yet.
Let me speak like a pagan for a second, Jack.
Yeah.
So if I feel like a lot of the miracles that were performed by Jesus were literally because of the belief. You know, almost not necessarily like a placebo effect, but a placebo effect in so many words. Like literally, if um if you believe, it don't matter if it's voodoo, you know what I'm saying, or any other kind of crazy belief system. If people collectively believe in it, you know, that's the superpower, right? Um, literally, like I said, if Jesus is, if you're sick, you know what I'm saying, and somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, get up," you feel better. It's like a motivational speech. You know what I'm saying? People can watch a YouTube video and change their lives, right? Because they heard something that, you know, planted the seed to keep them growing and keep them moving in the right direction. You know, and that could be seen as a miracle, although we kind of make it like a grandiose thing. But that's kind of like what healing is. I mean, for me, like the kind of stuff that I've seen, you know, if somebody, it might sound crazy, but if somebody believes that a Dr. Pepper can heal them, you know what I'm saying? If they really believe it, I'm not gonna say it couldn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm that type of person. You know, if they really believe it, you know, I mean, hey, you know, because that's 95% of it. You know, go ahead.
Well, that is a very true possibility, but add to that the placebo effect, the power of faith of the one who's receiving the healing, but add to that the power of intention within that one. And you know, I'm of the belief that there was a divine purpose in the story of the Christ, of Jesus, the choices and sacrifices, but I believe there was a divine purpose for all things, right? It brings us to today. And today, where we're at, we got a lot of people we're living at an incredible time right now. There's another guy I recommend often, this John St. Julian. In my mind, if there was a guy, if I pictured a Jesus like in person at this time using the technology, this, I think it's pretty damn close. He's also started a orphanage for disabled children in Tanzania. And he's got some crazy stories about dealing with witch doctors and voodoo and spiritual darkness. So It's not just the it's not just the placebo effect, but there is incredible, incredible power in our minds and the energies. Sorry, you're muted, brother.
Maybe I was oversimplifying it by saying placebo effect, but like you say, when the heart and the mind aligns on something, it's not really much that can get in between, you know what I'm saying, the will of a man and the idea that he has, you know. And that's really the key. You know, that's what like will to me is, you know, heart. You know what I'm saying? Ideas is mind. And once those kind of things align, it's not too much really that can stop that person. You know what I'm saying? That's and a lot of times we're so compartmentalized. You know, somebody might be smart, somebody might just have total willpower. You know, somebody might have both, but they are unbalanced in other areas, and they're, you know, demonic or whatever, or going about the wrong stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to kind of get it all together, and I guess that's kind of our point and journey, you know, on earth, you know, living life is to kind of get it all together. But it's easier said than done, that's for sure.
My mind wandered a little bit there again. Hard to get it done. With faith, I truly believe we are here to learn and to grow in our faith, in our own experience and comprehension with the energies of love, love without condition, love beyond condition. And I've been thinking the future I see of humanity, here's where we're at right now. The growth of pretty much everything in most people's lives and in the collective, the limit is budget and authority. Those two, they're great tools, can be excellent instruments for order, but budgets and authority have been controlling everyone.
I mean, control is necessary at times, but I definitely get your point. Um I mean, it's hard. I mean, like Jack, you seem, you know, very intelligent. You know, you've read a lot of books and have a lot of good realizations on stuff. But at the same time, it's like for me personally, I don't want to speak about you. For me, that's kind of the journey that I kind of dealt with in my life. Is I went and read all the books and all of the, you know, found all the good ideas, and then it's like, all right, you're 25, you got 50 years to go, you know, or 60, 70 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Figuring the ideas out, but living up to those standards and morals or whatever that it is the real journey of life. You know what I'm saying? So you can know that alcohol is bad, you know, but to not take a drink again is a whole nother journey. It's another work that you got to put in. To take a dip or to smoke a cigarette, you know, you can know that it's bad, you know what I'm saying? But you still, every time you go to the gas station, I used to dip, I used to smoke Black and Miles, I used to smoke weed and shit. Every time you go to the gas station, if you have been through that journey, you know you're making a decision that contradicts everything that you have read about, and you know that it's right and righteous. But you literally make that decision anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest part of that is like forgiving yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother part, is, you know, it's easier to forgive other people, but to forgive yourself for being insufficient. To say that, hey, I'm not perfect. I have flaws. That's really the start of perfection, or to trying to become, you know, a better person, is to accept the fact that I'm flawed. And as long as you're in that mindset, you can keep getting better. And the longer that you're in that mindset, everybody around you can look at you and be like, man, this guy got it together. You know what I'm saying? He's doing all the right things. But within yourself, you're saying, hey, I don't got it all together. I know I'm a flawed human being, but I'm constantly trying to become better every day. And that's really the key to everything, life, society. The more people are in that mindset, the better for everybody.
Brother, I love those examples you gave. Yeah, to overcome the problems, we got to first accept and find forgiveness, acceptance. That was one of my notes I had earlier today. Is the dealing the downside to results, right? Is it's informations that brings up real life circumstances we got to deal with, and so it's you're dealing with already the circumstances of not having money, not having whatever, having the resources, and then you want to judge yourself, which just, I don't mean you, but this is what I used to do to myself, was judge myself, even, and it makes the problem even worse. So the mindset of the Stoic is to accept, control those things you can control, and release the things you cannot control. So go ahead.
No, you said to judge yourself. That's kind of like I think that was yesterday, right? Where we talked about the emotions come up. You have to kind of accept those emotions. If emotion comes up and says what you're doing is fucked up, you know what I'm saying? You're making the wrong decision. If you say it makes it worse, it's like you reinforcing it and accepting it, that, you know what I'm saying, that's who you are and you don't have the ability to change, right? Instead of saying, this is the moment that I'm in right now, and I'm not where I want to be. I want to continue to grow and evolve and become a better person. Um, but to say that to acknowledge something and kind of have that self-realization, and for it to make it worse, I wouldn't I would kind of disagree with that one point. But I could see how it could go either way, because then it's like it's a choice. You either accept it or you want to change it. And you get what I'm saying? Like the example I made earlier, I can go to the gas station. Me personally, I stopped smoking and probably 40 times. You know what I'm saying? Always cold turkey, and I might go, a month. I might go years without smoking or drinking or whatever. Um, but it was always cold turkey, and it was finally like that guilt hit me and said, and I had to make a choice and say, hey, all the other times, every time I went in there, I knew I was making the wrong decision. But it hit me, and I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I bought a pack and I'm gonna throw the rest of that pack away. Sometimes I get a pack, throw the rest away, and still go back. Right? You know what I'm saying? But eventually, once you finally hit that wall and say, nope, no more, it's still like within yourself to kind of accept that within yourself. You get what I'm saying? Maybe I lost you.
No, you didn't lose me. Yeah, we've got to find it within ourselves that we're done, to realize, hey, this is enough. It's time for a change. And that was the point I wanted to get, is it's our attitude, not the circumstances, that truly matter. And admittedly, my mind did drift. I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but I do know what I know. Machine Lies, you and Virgo Moon, if you guys would be willing to talk and allow me to help you communicate, I'll shut the stream down and maybe you two can find some peace. If that's an option, please, it's available for you, okay? So, relationships, man, they can tear us up or they can put us to the moon, man. They can send us send us to the heights and the lows, man. But
I think that's kind of what I was saying too, is like the more that you're in that place of incompletion, right? That you don't have it all figured out. You're not perfect. You accept that you have flaws. I think it's a whole nother thing to just always say I ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, um, when I was growing up in church, that's kind of the message that they kind of promoted a lot of times was like you have no power, you're a fucked up person, and Jesus is the only way. You just got lucky just because you heard what we talked to you about today, just because you got the gospel. Any other way, you was fucked up person, you didn't have a chance. That whole mindset about it, you get you know what I'm talking about, Flo. I mean, I said Flo, Jack. You know what I'm talking about. Like that mindset, when you project it into people, that's dangerous, man. And like the more people had that, self accountability to say, I'm not perfect, I have flaws, I don't have all the answers. You know what I'm saying? You get into less confrontations because you know what? That's he lived his experience, you know what I'm saying? And he came upon that understanding. I'm sure it's a reason why he feels very passionate about whatever it is that he says. He might be wrong compared to what I think, but that's his experience. And there's some stuff that we can argue, if it's like a fact, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when we get in these um theoretical, ideological, spiritual discussions, a lot of it is not all of that concrete to where it's, you know what I'm saying, it's an absolute fact, that we can just talk about. So that's where, our egos kind of get involved and we try and convince other people and say, I'm right, you're not right. That's where it gets dangerous, for me. What up, Flo?
What's going on?
yeah, welcome, Flo and Sarah. Blessings.
So what are we discussing? I missed out on the last handful of minutes.
Oh shit, sorry. Let me turn off the echo.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, cool.
Covered a bunch. I recognize the milestone of the growth for me, the 1500, but we were talking about individual.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. We were talking about spiritual growth, emotional growth, intellectual growth. I talked earlier, but I've been looking back into some ideas of Stoicism. I was reminded of some of that earlier.
Yeah, I'm about that shit. Stoicism is fantastic. We need more Stoicism in our whiny bitch ass world.
We need more virtue for certain. We need and more more people willing to put. Well, I don't want to misspeak. I was going to say,
what's Stoicism? Can we define it? I can look it up, but I think I'm not the only one that doesn't understand that concept. So
it's
we could kind of
absolutely. I looked it up earlier too, and the things I wrote down is virtue as being the highest good. Virtue being the high moral standards. So to me, it has a sorry, I'm not good at multitasking.
It's kind of hard to sum up in a sentence, but basically it's a worldview or a philosophy, and it focuses on what you can control, right? You can only control yourself and your response to life. Right. And so it sort of acknowledges that there's suffering and obstacles in life, but when you encounter them, the only thing that you can't avoid them, you can't avoid pain, but what you can avoid doing is acting like a bitch. You can control your response to them and how you approach them. So,
Yep. The endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. But that's achieved by focus on virtue, focusing on truth. Honestly, that's my description. Here,
Could that also be like not focusing on certain things? I think that's kind of what it talked about. I mean, kind of was getting
yes,
to. Like,
yeah,
I like, for me, I know like it's kind of when I first heard the word, my kind of understanding was, somebody that doesn't react, that is not void of emotion, kind of almost when it comes to reacting to certain things, and just kind of stand straight up, righteous type of person. But I like the definition too. Um, yeah.
there's lots of these philosophies, ways of looking at things that, man, it helps to broaden your mind and to understand different perspectives of the world.
Machine Lies, if you're still in the chat, this would be this would be a great topic. We could use you on Stoicism, I think.
Oh, amen. Actually, that's a man who is very well.
He knows his philosophy and his religion, and I don't even know how I don't even know his background. I don't know how he knows all the things that he knows, but maybe he's just great at faking knowledge.
I don't think so. There's some amazing people alive right now, and I think there's many. I'm going to include myself. There's many undiscovered that have not yet emerged. Well, actually, Jay, I don't know. I know the least about J Hub. Flo and I have had enough conversations, and he shared some truly insightful perspectives on psychology. And I've been looking at some of Sarah's stuff, and holy cows, man, you guys are well studied and well read as well.
We try to act stupid, though. I mean, we were trying to act stupid, but she comes in here with the glasses on.
Sorry. Today we're the librarian.
Blew our fucking cover.
Which book shall we cover today? The Gnostic Gospels? The Book of Enoch?
We're doing Gnosticism. We need meditation.
Stoicism.
Marcus Aurelius.
Is that Carl Jung?
He's probably in the back room. I don't have him right here. Sorry.
I thought there was a Jung there too.
I thought that's what I just read on that book. That's why I said
this one. Oh yeah, no, this is Carl Jung.
Yeah. Oh, who's in the background?
All my other books.
You know what? These studies, these things I find to be absolutely fascinating, but it's another aspect of the study is that it's not more widely discussed. Thoughts of the mind and different methods of viewing the world. The corruption of our world, it's fucking unbelievable, guys. It's literally just mind-blowing insanity.
Not really.
Oh
I don't think it is. I think it's
honestly,
absolutely to be expected.
No,
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I understand humans, and I mean, just if you look at what people are, and if you look at what the institutions are, it's exactly what you'd kind of expect it to be. I think.
I think right now our world is as sane as it's ever been. You know what I'm saying? And it's more right now. I mean, it's easy to say hindsight is always 2020. Everybody thinks that, back in the day, in my day, it was way better. We had it this way and that way. You know what I'm saying? But let's be honest, the the people in our society may not act the right way, but the opportunities and the stuff that's available to them in the information age that we live in with the internet, you got the choice, to go either way. You can watch Basketball Wives of LA, or you can watch or
Yeah,
you
I
can
know.
watch something that's gonna, wake you up
There's
in
like
your
20
spiritual
shows
journey.
like that.
Did you know there's a
Exactly.
YouTube video with hobo throwing competition? That's right. They throw hobos.
Humans are fascinating. Give them a
That's
camera, you never know what the fuck they might do or find.
We're bored.
no.
I mean, that's
Hey,
just
that's
great.
it.
We're bored.
It's boredom, and that's the
Who do
problem.
you think could throw a hobo further, me or J Hub?
Flo, you probably got me. You probably got me. I'm fat and out of shape now. That's kind of like even what I was talking about yesterday, right? That old Christian woman that got that Cadillac in a garage that she only drive to church and the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? She was naive enough, you know what I'm saying, to live in her little bubble. Now it's so much information. People are literally scrolling. It's a 50-second video. You got 5 seconds to impress them, or they're gonna keep scrolling. And that's kind of the way people's minds are wired in our time. You know what I'm saying? It's so much information. It's an information overload, analysis paralysis. People know so much that they don't really know anything. You know what I'm saying? Nobody focuses on anything. They just going. We watch long form content, but the masses of people do not watch long form content where you can actually pick up and learn ideas. It's like a quick little 50-second clip that people watch, and then they like, oh yeah, I learned something. You know what I'm saying? In 50 seconds,
That's rote
they
learning.
they just
They
drop
just
some knowledge
repeat
on me.
those headlines over and over and over, and
Exactly, and
then
they
it
gonna
becomes a
regurgitate. Yep.
consensus.
They're gonna keep regurgitating them talking points. It's like, and I ain't gonna. I'm just be straight up. In the Black community, it's like Black people learn a new word every year. You know what I'm saying? One year it's emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? One year it's the patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Every year it's like a new trendy word that everybody's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And it's just because they heard it on a 50-second clip somewhere, or they might have heard it on 3 clips. So, oh, I heard it from 2 or 3 sources, so it must be real. You get what I'm saying?
It's the new normal. This is bad for our democracy.
No, y'all talk. I've been talking a lot. Everybody else talk. I'm shut up for 30 minutes.
No, those are just slogans that were repeated constantly. Just what you were describing.
That's how it has worked. I do want to welcome the Machine Lives. Always an honor, and this idea of philosophies and perhaps the technological milestones we have been achieving collectively, at least what's public. It's raised our society to some interesting points. Myself, I find it's hard. It's hard for my own mind to wrap around. So I can imagine others, but the fact that I live in this luxury with, filled pantry, filled fridge, water at the flip of a faucet, got all of these luxury and this, and then there's other humans today that are like living super primitive, super poverty, and it's not entirely their choice. So I have a tough time getting the wealth inequality and the advancement that humanity has experienced. It's like totally lopsided.
It's because some people are better than others.
That's the way
so they deserve more.
Well, that is, as they say, I don't want to bring the religions up, but many religions thought they were the chosen ones, the ones that were special.
I think I I know who you're talking about. Wink, wink.
Well, there's humans are fascinating. We are fascinating creatures, all of us. Very mystical, very hard to define, because you never know what a human's gonna do. Right? Machine Lies, you're dealing with some of the uncertainty now.
Well, I'd like to first and foremost apologize to the chat. You know, I was coaxed into coming on here because I saw my wife's message on the TV. So it was actually a roundabout way, you know, and then I was invited on the panel. So I didn't plan on coming on the panel, but I thought it would be a good distraction from my emotional state at the moment. You know,
That's sort of what I was hoping for.
Yeah, as I start to talk about philosophy, I start to get forget about my problems. You know, so that's.
Can you sum up? Can you sum up Stoicism for us in a way that?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. Yeah, for
Beautiful.
sure. Yeah, no worries. But I think the discussion actually started with cynicism, and it's easier to go about it that way. And I like what Jack said, because he was talking about technology, and you can actually learn a lot from a machine, because one of the primary things about a machine is efficiency. And efficiency, if you really analyze efficiency, it's how do you get to the end process while making the least amount of moves. You know, and this is actually a Taoist principle too, and also a Stoic principle, which is simplicity. You know, simplicity being a cornerstone of virtue. You know, and virtue being something that's not just power, because some people see virtue as power and some people see it as goodness. But I think virtue is really the combination of these two things, the combination of truth and benevolence into one scope of being. And then combining that with the qualities that you see in nature. And so yeah,
That's a dope description. Look, you're making Jack bust out into prayer.
Yeah, the cynics. The cynics really. They
Praise
really started
God.
as a response to Plato. You know, because you know, Diogenes. You know, Plato had described a human being as a featherless biped.
Bird. Oh,
yeah. So Diogenes went and plucked a chicken and brought it to Plato and asked him if that's a fucking human to him, you know. And he said the problem is with you limiting things into definitions, into categories, you know, that don't really exist out in the world. So Diogenes would do things like he would eat in the supermarket, he would masturbate in the public halls, and you know, he would live in a barrel, you know, and he owned a cup, but he actually threw away his cup, his only possession, because he saw a kid drinking out of the hand. Out of the well with his hand. So this embodies the simplicity, you know, that you know, sort of less is more. And then he ingratiated himself to a disciple of Socrates, making himself a slave, and that's why they called him Diogenes.
Who was that who came and visited him? I think it was Alexander the Great.
Yeah, Alexander the Great said, if I couldn't be me, I'd be that dude.
Yeah, Alexander the Great came and visited him on a horse, and said to him, you know, that besides my teacher Aristotle, you know, if I could choose any person to scale in wisdom besides my teacher Aristotle, it would be you, because you're a disciple of Socrates as well. So he said,
You don't think that was sarcasm?
I believe that Diogenes' response was, you know what you can do for me? You can stop blocking my son and get out the way. I think that was something.
He said, because essentially Aristotle had offered him anything in his whole kingdom. So he said, you know, I got horses, I got infantries, I have palaces, you know, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. And, you know, he said, what can you really give me that big ball in the sky that's burning right behind you that it hasn't already given me for free? You know, you really can't give me anything greater than, you know, me bathing in the sun at this moment. So he said, get out of my way. You know, you're blocking the true light. You think you're the light. You think you're the one that's giving all of this life to creation. But it's actually something up there that you can't see. And that's like the Zen teacher when he points to the moon, and he says people pay attention to the finger pointing to the moon instead of what the finger is pointing to. You pay attention to who's making the point instead of the point that's being made. And that's the
Bruce
fucking
Lee
problem
made that famous, by the way, right?
Yeah.
And Enter the Dragon, I think it was one of the Return of the Dragon and the Dragon. He's teaching his student, points at the finger, he smacks the kid in the face. Do not stare at the finger, or you will miss all the heavenly beauty above.
That's right. He took it from a Zen priest. It's actually a word for word line from a Zen koan, written in the 1600s. But yeah.
Hey, not to just interrupt the flow, but how do you know all the shit that you know, Machine?
Well, I got a book right here. It's called Ancient Greek and Roman Philosophy. And it goes over a lot of this stuff, and it tells you that the founder of Stoicism is Zeno of Citium, and there's
not
actually
Marcus Aurelius.
Wait, what'd you say?
It's not Marcus Aurelius.
No, it's way before Marcus Aurelius. It's way before Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, it's way before the spread of Hellenism. Actually, Hellenism constituted the spread of these two things, Stoicism and Epicureanism. These were kind of.
What's Epicureanism?
Yeah, it's interesting because because it would constitute.
Hold
because
on,
it's a good way to explain.
That's a bad question though. That's a whole other topic.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the same. It's the same topic. It's the same topic because if you understand what Epicureanism is, you understand what Stoicism is.
Okay,
I'm a fan of Stoicism.
I obviously don't know what Epicureanism is. I thought it was that thing that you get when you're giving birth to numb.
Well, to put it in the easiest, simplest way, the Stoics believed that gods controlled nature. So they believed nature constituted fate. You had to accept nature. But Epicurus rejected this notion. He said the gods don't control anything in the world, and even atoms have free will.
Wow.
And he said, if you believe in fate, then you're basically a person who believes in all sorts of tyranny, all sorts of immorality, and all sorts of confusion.
Do you prefer one of those over the other?
Yeah, I think I prefer Stoicism over Epicureanism personally. But yeah,
it seems like a bit of both to me. Like it seems like everything. It seems like we keep trying to reduce the thing. It's going to be a bit of both, probably simultaneously. You have to give it up and let it go. And they got it right. The Stoicists, the Eastern philosophers, let it go and roll with nature. At the same time, I'm a child of God. I got to make shit happen. I got to do both.
Yeah.
Everything in this world is contradictory. Just like physics, you got classical physics and quantum physics. They completely contradict each other, but they coexist.
And they're still trying to find a unifying theory to prove it, and they're still having trouble doing so.
How do we kind of find the balance though? Like, because I feel like a lot of times we can talk about these ideas, but it's always like a counterbalance to it, right? So if you're a stoic, if I'm a stoic man, right?
Yeah.
I don't complain about anything, right? Anything that comes across to me, I'm not complaining. It doesn't even matter. That can be a detriment at times. I think like to be stoic,
you're right.
Like the definition, it says you don't express that emotion, right? But it doesn't mean that you don't actually receive and feel that emotion exists, right? So to feel that you can't, to have a feeling, for example, that you got $3 in your account and you got 4 kids and a wife, right? That feeling, of being broken.
What the hell are they doing all day?
Damn it.
That's a capitalist.
Put those kids in the mines.
No, but that feeling, right? Well, I guess what I'm getting to is like you had to have that balance, kind of like what I was saying, like with my wife. She was that kind of person for me to be like, excuse my lack for better words, but nigga, you fucking up. You ain't got your shit all together. You know what I'm saying? Our kids need a bigger house. You know what I'm saying? I want to eat vegan. I don't want to eat McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? You talking all this vegan shit, you gotta buy you know what I'm saying, lemons and fucking fruits and shit. That's way more. You can't live off no McDonald's budget. Let's be honest here.
Right.
Lemons are
I
the
know.
cornerstone of veganism.
No, but I'm being honest. It's like you have to constantly have that. You have to be balanced, you know, to say, you know, you have to actually feel that emotion and react to it. You know what I'm saying? Like to just ignore that emotion and say that it doesn't exist and not react to it can be a detriment at
Listen,
times.
after you practice this shit for a while, the emotion is not the same.
Yeah.
The same shit that made you angry makes you happy later, right? The
Yeah.
same guy that you thought got on your nerve, now you appreciate him. He was just there to help. You know, the
Right.
emotion changed when you get good at that shit.
You become indifferent, where it's no longer seen as good or bad. It simply is.
Yeah,
And even if
I
you're
agree with
stuck
that.
down to $12 or $3, you find this faith and you trust in things and you pay attention to the opportunities because it's there if you can recognize it.
It's I think I gave that specific example because that's a little different. Like if you're a man trying to provide for your family and your
It's
kids are
brutal.
telling you that
Well,
you
your wife wasn't exactly providing high vibes for you either. Like the way she was speaking to you and turning like if she wants to get out of that situation, she can't just bitch about it.
no, I'm not.
She's got to either support you to go out there and do what you got to do, or she's got to go out there and help. Like just bitching isn't going to do shit.
Look at this
No,
chunk.
I definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
she's a little sassy today. I
All
see.
right.
I agree with that though. I agree with that.
You knew it by the
know,
bun, the tight hair.
No.
That's the bond.
I'm telling you, there's visual cues. If you ever see a girl dramatically change her hairstyle, if she cuts it all off, get the fuck away from her.
Yeah, she's going through a change.
Like,
Right. Yeah, shit's about to blow up.
I'm like, I guess I'm totally with what you're saying, but I'm just getting to the point of, you know, living in that moment of feeling that emotion. You know, that's important. That you sometimes you need to really get in that emotion and feel like shit and feel like I ain't got
You
it
know,
together. You know what I'm saying? And really live in that moment and have that bad moment other than saying, nope, I'm gonna figure it out.
I
I
don't
got
know
it
about
together.
that bad moment, man. I really try to get up out of them bad moments. They are, like the lady said. But when I do live in my emotion, it's the positive shit, man. If I, experience something with somebody, just thinking about God or positive shit, now suddenly, I'm like a baby. I'm bawling at times. But when the hard times come, I'm the guy who's not going to fucking complain, and eventually I'll overcome it. And the shit that used to make me anxious, I don't know, a year ago, it doesn't fucking affect me now. If I'm late, I'm just gonna be late. I have no anxiousness because I'm late or because something happened. That's not really a thing.
Good
No,
for you.
No, I see both sides. I was just trying to give a different perspective.
No,
I like being contrarian at times.
Just talking about
Well,
yeah,
the
right.
idea too of don't deny emotions, but emotions are natural. They are a part of our experience, but process them quickly or hold on to them. It's entirely up to each of us what we do. Fascinating.
Yeah, I feel like you said, like no, don't just ball in the emotion of it, but it's good to accept it, and realize that it's something going wrong. I need to make a change right now. We got to take
Right.
radical
Sounds
action.
like a very stoic approach to me, at least, right? Am I?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't think it's about denying. I think it's about not indulging or
Right, right.
wallowing.
Exactly, right?
I
Say what
agree.
you're gonna
I agree
do
with
and
that.
do it.
I agree with that.
Jahab, I think you might be the most stoic person on this panel.
No, but that's why I got the wife that I said I got, because I know I can be so stoic sometimes that it can really be going wrong, and I feel like it's gonna all get better. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need somebody in your ear fucking barking, and I ain't gonna say it.
To light a fire under
maybe
your
not.
ass.
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
lies. Can I
I
ask
don't
you?
want to paint her like she just a fucking witch from hell or some shit, but
Too
you know
late.
what
Too
I'm
late.
saying? When
Good.
but you get what I'm saying. When I'm that stoic person, she'll be like, you know what I'm saying, hey, get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? She'll pull me to the side and, you know, call me out on my bullshit when I think I got it together and I really don't. You know,
Let me
and
ask Machine
that kind of
Lies a
situation.
couple why he's here since you know, I don't he's not here all the time. Uh uh obviously you got some thoughts upon the Bible and where those stories in the Bible come from. I shouldn't say obviously, I should be asking the question. What do you think those stories in the Bible originated?
Well, it's
Which
interesting.
story?
Yeah, I'll try to tie it into the theme as well, because I know that Jack mentioned that there was a link between the teachings of the Bible and the spread of cynicism. You know, especially and Stoicism and Epicureanism, because these are all Hellenistic philosophies, and it just so happens that some of the people who were involved in Middle Platonism were people who were in the high levels of Alexandrian society. You know, like Philo of Alexandria, you know, whose family actually was you know, was part of the army of Flavius. You know, so they were actually inducted into the Roman army, and he was also a Middle Platonist. And if you see the writings of Paul, you see a very well. First of all, Paul wrote in Greek, so he's writing to a Hellenistic audience. He's writing to Jews who are and Gentiles who are not part of the general community, you know, because he's the apostle to the Gentiles. So he travels to places like Athens. And I actually stood in Athens one day at a place called Areopagus Rock, where Paul gave a speech, you know, when I went to go study philosophy in Athens.
Who the fuck does that? Go ahead.
Yeah.
No shit. What a
This
fucking
is study
what a
philosophy, but go ahead.
nonchalant
Well,
huge
Muslims, well,
brag.
not a lot of Muslims do that, but yeah, no, I think philosophy is totally evil. I don't recommend the study of philosophy for anybody.
What?
I think
What?
unless you got like you know, maybe like you know, I think unless your brain is really broken in some kind of way, you know, it's not really good for the general person to
All right,
study
now I got
philosophy.
two
So can
questions
we
for you. You
can we
haven't
No,
answered my
now we gotta
question,
separate
and now
that.
philosophy is evil thing. I think I could put my question on a back burner because why is
we
philosophy
gotta
evil,
unpack
bro?
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big
it's
statement.
like cynicism. It's like if you're cynical, I mean if you're if you're a philosopher that follows cynicism, then the first thing that you should be cynical of is philosophy itself. You know, that can
Are you a
provide
cynic?
answers,
What is
ultimate
philosophy? Like,
answers. You know,
no, like I feel like
I'm not.
like
Wait,
when
wait,
when
wait, wait, wait. Don't let him.
hold
I'm
on,
sorry.
no,
Yeah.
when he was first talking, he named like 3 or 4 different when he talked about stoicism, he named like 3 or 4 different things. Maybe I'm the only ignorant one here. I know I'm not the only ignorant one listening that doesn't understand all those terms that he
You
was kind
might
of
be. It
referring
might
to.
just be you. You might be the stupidest person
If
around.
that's the case,
Thank you,
let me
Jim.
let me hit the Google up. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like sometimes I know I can do it at times too. You can start talking and you just assume everybody knows what you're talking about.
I was
You're
unfamiliar
not
with maybe
catching what you're
one
throwing.
term that
Nobody's
he
catching
said.
what you're throwing. Yeah.
Thank
And then at
thank
the
you,
end of it,
Jim.
it's like you sound really smart, but I didn't really understand everything that you were trying to, you know, throw
All
at
right,
me.
that's damn near irrelevant at this point. Anyway,
Here,
if we go back there, I want the answer to my question: where the stories in the Bible came from. We haven't gotten there yet. Are
oh, jeez,
are we
man.
gonna talk about why philosophy? Just because you suggest if a guy is cynical, he shouldn't study it. What if a guy's an optimist? Blah blah blah. Is it inherently evil philosophy, and why?
Can I ask? Machine Lies. God bless you. You're gathering. I know you're. Yes. One. If I understood J Hub, and I think it may be helpful as well, because when you pointed out that Hellenistic thought processes of Stoicism, Cynicism, and
The one that I don't know what it is.
Epicureanism,
Yeah,
I
that
think
one.
may have been the other. I'm not familiar with those either. And if you're going to bring us to the conclusion that philosophy has an evil to it, let's flush this out if you can. All right, I'd like to know more. Where are we at?
Well, in my humble opinion, you know, I believe that if the philosophy is reducing what was knowledge of the sacred, transmuting that into a science, you know, and it's not exactly a science either, you know, because science came out of philosophy, and I think this is another danger of philosophy. You know, the real danger, I think, is science. You know, I don't think philosophy is completely dangerous, but I think it gave birth to a real evil, which is science. You know,
Now we got more
but I
shit
think,
to unpack.
yeah, and I think
I'm with him
I'm
on
right there with
philosophy.
him.
He's relieved his burden. He didn't call philosophy evil, and where he was going really was because it creates science. I'm with him.
yeah,
I can get
it goes
conformed.
religion, philosophy, science. Yeah, go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm following along, and I think I can even make the arguments he's offering about science and evil, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. But I do want to come back. If you can take us back to the Hellenistic ideas
Oh,
at the time
grr.
of the Christ,
Grr.
is that all right? Oh, forgive me. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah, it's gonna. I just assumed it was about to get convoluted, and we were making progress. That just might be in my fucking head.
I didn't mean to throw a wrench in there either, but I didn't want the question to go unanswered.
Tell me about it. I got one or two on the table. Tell me about it.
Write them down, Joe. Cool.
I won't interrupt again. How about that? Machine Lies, please gather your thoughts.
Science, Machine Lies, we're at science.
That's a terrible. Hold on. Jack needs to interrupt more. You need to get more comfortable with interrupting on your panel and do less of this thing with your hands.
Yes, because I don't even be looking, right? I don't even be seeing you. I notice Jack is looking like this and that. I don't even be noticing on this tiny motherfucking phone. Machine Lies, science now. You're telling us you believe it's evil. This is going to be a good one because I can come up with a bunch of things science has done that's good, and you know that I can. So this will be good.
Can I just point out how much of a rock star Machine Lies looks like with his microphone and just like everything?
Let me zoom in. My phone sucks. Yes, good looking guy, Machine Lies. Good looking guy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, not a lot of luck with the ladies. But,
well, have you tried singing Black Hole Sun? Sing Black Hole Sun real quick.
Black Hole Sun. Yeah. I probably sing like Aladdin though, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Give me the stoicism and I'll help you with the ladies, man. We can help each other out, man. That ladies is a cakewalk.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, you know, I think the Handbook of Epictetus is the greatest work in Stoicism. You know, and I could read passages from the Handbook of.
Can you just say it again? What is it?
The Handbook of Epictetus. You know, and for you know, and I'll read a passage from it right now. You know, he says, if you want to make progress, let people think you are a mindless fool about externals and do not desire a reputation for knowing about them. If people think you amount to something, distrust yourself. You know, so this is a very you know, kind of self-critical philosophy, and Epicureanism is kind of the opposite. And it comes from the fact that, but you know, people get Epicureanism confused. They think it's a philosophy that promotes pleasure. You know, when Epicurus said the greatest pleasure is talking about philosophy with your friends, you know, he thought that was the greatest aphrodisiac pleasure. You know, he wasn't a hedonist. You know, he wasn't a hedonist in any way. You know, but he believed pleasure to be something divine, you know, in a sense, something that connects us with the divine, Well, Stoics thought that the pleasures of the body, they saw the pleasures of the body and the pleasures of the spirit to be totally different. And this is why people conflate it with the teachings of Paul, because of this stark dualism between, but they saw nature as one thing. So nature is one thing, and this is why it can't be fit into Christianity neatly, because in Christianity, they believe in ontological transcendence. The logos is apart from nature, but in Stoicism, the logos is inextricably linked with nature itself. Because nature is imbued with reason, and this reason doesn't always go with our desires, and our feelings and all of these things. So they teach about sacrifice, they teach about humility, they teach about those types of customs, and people often see it as classicists. They see Stoicism and Epicureanism as a decline in Greek philosophy that's brought about through Hellenism, because Hellenism absorbs all of these cultures into it. So certain people think of this as a good thing, that Alexander united all of these cultures from Africa to Asia, and other people see this as the cause of universalism and global hegemony, and that sort of a thing. So
That's
historically,
that's the side you come down on, mostly negative shit, negative about it.
Oh yeah. I would say that Alexander the Great, it shows in his character that Aristotle, his teacher, was a traitor to the Greek people.
Aristotle's teacher.
Yeah, Aristotle was the teacher of Alexander.
Yes, Plato taught Aristotle. So you're saying Aristotle was a piece of crap, is what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah,
I think so
Aristotle
too.
is a piece of shit, in my opinion.
I would agree, right? I would agree.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to, and I think Aristotle really created these two things called logic and science.
Come on, let's stop. Let's stop.
Yeah,
Let's stop.
okay,
We got to stop right there. Hold on.
Because go ahead.
It's a hot take, but yeah.
Nah, come on. Y'all talking about Alexander the Great and all these people. They went into places like Egypt and fucking took over the libraries and took all of the knowledge. So
I was about to go there.
You can't say these people came up with ideas and concepts. They translated them into Greek, where we can read them today.
If you'll allow me a moment,
and then Alexander the Great burned all of the libraries after he translated everything. So that's the only thing that's left.
I was going to go there with my original question. Where did the stories of the Bible come from? With you, J-Hub. The previous documents tell you that all of these cats, they ran and they ransacked Egypt, which had a library of all of these stories before, going back to the Sumerian shit.
Yeah, Sumerians, all these people, it's like I said, I think the last time we was all on here, it's only one story. It's only the story of Heru, of Osar. It's the same thought. It's the same characters that have been renamed in every hero movie that you've ever watched in your life. It's only one story to tell. It's only one hero. It's only one Heru. He got the same characteristics in any movie you watch. So we can't just act like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it started when the white motherfucker came over and conquered Egypt.
No, I didn't say all of that. No.
Okay, I'll say it. Fuck it. When the Greeks come over, that's what it was, man. All of the paintings back then, all the shit back then were black. All the what's good? All the paintings and everything, the great paintings and shit were black. And right about that time, they came up this shit to turn everything white. You see all the paintings get remade lighter and lighter and lighter till they're white folks. All this shit occurred at the same time, and it was fucking planned, bro. It was make the dark motherfucker get rid of history. They started that when they fucking stole a library.
Can we see some of the original black paintings? I'd be interested to see those.
Oh yes, in fact, I'm told that the Pope now they couldn't throw them away because they're masterpieces.
Oh wait, we heard this story. We heard this story. I think the point that we get into is, it was somebody who had a superior military that came in and overthrew somebody, took all of his knowledge and made it his
Yeah.
story, literally,
Yeah.
and that's what everybody's going by today. So, I mean, we can spin it. Everybody's got their own perspective on this stuff, but we can kind of all unite on the ideas that we have that's left. And but I just don't
All
like
that
giving
knowledge came from
ideas,
Kemet. They
saying
carried it to
I don't want to
Egypt.
say Pythagoras is the one that created Pythagorean theorem when it was already pyramids.
That's my favorite theorem.
That's a
So
valid
I mean,
point.
that's the only thing that I'm saying. I feel like
that.
the time scale is not linear; it's cyclical. Everything is in cycles. Everything we going through today. Somebody went through that shit thousands of years ago. Maybe not in the same exact perspective, but the same concept, the same kind of overall concepts of what's happening has already happened before. And if we had a full history of
Yes.
the of the cycles and stuff, we can kind of see what's coming on, but that'd be too simple, too much like right. So
Yeah.
we gotta all act stupid and be degenerates. Y'all go ahead.
What's good, Jesse? Get muted, Jesse.
I
Speaking
just
of
came from
degenerate,
an funny. I just came from an interview. Fascinating guy out of Australia who's had a lot of alien and demonic experiences throughout his life. Started when he was 8 years old, and never had any physical, nothing, no markings on him. But he's battling these things in his mind, and and he's just interesting to be able to chat with some people and just find out what's going on inside of them. So definitely a fascinating interview. I just finished now.
Okay.
Thanks for joining.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I had gotten distracted while I was trying to put something together here. Did he ever tell us how science was evil? Because I had a comment I wanted to come back
Yeah,
to that. Did
I
I miss that part?
That's a big statement.
Well, I want to go off of what J-Hub said because he made an interesting comment about the knowledge actually being older and the Library of Alexandria actually being older than the Greek library. It's obvious that the Greeks took a lot of this knowledge from the Egyptians and the Persians, and both of these systems are combined in the fact that Plato traveled to Egypt. But it's also a notable fact that Plato's writings were rejected in Greece. So these were not sort of Greek ideas. These were sort of, in my opinion, cosmopolitan ideas that were only existed among the educated classes of the Greek people. So when it comes down to Aristotle, see, the Persians and the Egyptians, they never divorced knowledge from the sacred. And Plato himself was an Orphic Pythagorean, so he never did that either. He kind of
Miss St. Laz. All right.
Yeah.
Be nice. No, I need to be. Listen, girl. You're not really, girl. I'm gonna be.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I'm really gonna
get
get to the point though, for real though. I promise.
Yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, it goes from Plato, him not divorcing knowledge and the sacred, to Aristotle's formation of categories. He invents categories of knowledge, such as science, such as logic. This compartmentalization of knowledge divorced knowledge from the sacred. There was a unity of knowledge before Aristotle. Plato believed in the unity of knowledge, beauty, and truth. Beauty, truth, and goodness. I'm sorry. Yeah, beauty, truth, and goodness. He believed that these three things were linked. Aristotle rejected this. He thought truth was based on a correct epistemology. He formed a theory of knowledge. He was one of the first philosophers to do this. And this is when he formed a system, a philosophical system. And that's what truly formed science as it was. Through the epistemology of the quote unquote correspondence theory. And I can explain how this was done.
Can you explain Socrates taught Plato? You telling me Socrates didn't know what science was because Plato invented it after?
It was
there's
philosophy.
no proof.
basically.
Well, there's no proof that Socrates and Plato believed the same thing or taught the same
They
thing.
did not. You can read their shit and see they're totally fucking
Yeah,
and fucking
different.
Aristotle from Plato was totally
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
different. I would
totally
agree
different.
with
That's
you.
right. That's right. They're totally different.
However, you know the fucking science was around in Socrates' era, man. I don't understand what you're even trying to say. You're not
Science.
really answering his
No.
question
Science
or
and
hers.
religion, or science and philosophy, was basically one thing. It was one concept at the time. It wasn't separated like we have
Yeah,
it now.
that's what I'm saying.
Why is
That's
that
what
a
I'm saying.
problem though? I
It's
think that's
not
the problem with
real.
our society, that everybody wants to compartmentalize stuff, and it's all that's like what we talked about yesterday. Everything is the oneness. Everything is fucking
What?
interconnected.
What?
Right,
The-
right. Then why compartmentalize it if it's all one?
No, it's like you're saying that he created theology, or he created science after somebody else has been studying 10,000 years, recording knowledge and information for
It's
thousands
not
of
even
years.
logical.
You can't. These people already understood the precession of an equinox, which takes 26,000 years to go through the cycle.
That's not
I-
and they thought that knowledge was given to them from a divine source. Aristotle was the first person to say, no, you can go backwards. You could just observe nature and come up with knowledge about how God is.
Wait,
you say
They
they
removed
believe-
God.
when you say
When they
so-
separated
you
it
say they
into
believe-
science, they removed God from it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they removed God.
and to say and I think that's the problem. People think that it's a separation between what God is and knowledge. You
Yeah, I
think
agree.
that God is some just stupid believers, and knowledge are the smart people that got it all figured out. I think that in theory, people that deal with theory and psychology and stuff like that are separate from God. These people, the same people that created everything that you're working off of, believed that everything was one. So for you to come back and say now that, oh, you got it figured out, and the people that developed it and all of this stuff, they were wrong. Maybe they did.
It's
It got to a
it's
point- no.
nonsense. There was
Maybe
a
maybe
fucking
they did get to-
caveman that lit something
No,
on
no.
fire. He was the first scientist. Until some white dude
how do you
call it
know? How do you
science,
know there was
though,
a caveman in the
can't be
beginning and
science.
shit? How do you know it wasn't Adam?
Exactly. You think Adam didn't do his own experiment? Damn, the sun is
you're
hot.
starting with you're starting with presupposition of science, because you're
I
saying
am.
people started out with cavemen. There's no proof of that.
No. That was I was just being
They're also
ironic. I was
assuming
just
that
trying to
Adam
make
was
the
one
point that
single man.
There's more proof that
make
we
the point that I was trying to make
Yeah,
the
if you're
point
saying
that
if you're saying that they figured out the precession of the equinox before Plato, then there's
I-
a good proof that they
no.
lost a lot of knowledge.
I wasn't
Not
talking
gained it.
about you get my
And that's-
point.
that's-
that
I
there
agree.
was science among men before Aristotle, whoever you just attributed that shit to. That's
And
a
what do you base
given,
that
right?
on?
Or we debate. I'm giving science.
I don't think
the
he's debating
definition
that
of-
it didn't exist. I think
Right.
he's telling
He
you
must
that
not
it was all combined together, and how they
That's right.
took in this knowledge. It was all grouped
That's right.
together. And then
Yeah.
I don't remember which dude you said separated out into categories.
I
Aristotle.
don't know what that. I'm not sure what
Aristotle.
that means.
I
All
think that's what
science
I'm
was
pushing
grouped
back
Yeah,
on.
together.
Aristotle created the
science.
word
I'm pushing
science,
back
just
on
to let
that.
you know.
Well, yeah, I could go for that.
Like he
but
created
look,
the word. He literally
Yes.
created the
Okay.
word, but all right, you could argue about it.
Wait.
You could argue whatever you want.
Wait. So
So somebody creates the
that's
color
insane.
blue, the name blue.
yes,
Does that
because
mean
they
they
named
created
it
the
blue.
color?
Blue didn't exist. That philosophy doesn't hold, bro.
There's a fine line between discovery and invention. Is the answer to your question?
Wait. I'm not sure what.
I'm saying he couldn't. If philosophy is something that's so old and so complex that nobody could 2,000 years or 3,000 years ago could say they created or discovered it and attribute all of the knowledge that has been gathered up on the planet. Like that's my problem. I think these concepts that this person even talked about are so grand and so broad that no one person you can just attribute it all
not.
to.
No, I'm saying he
It's
limited the
insane,
pursuit of human knowledge. Knowledge is infinite. This person said this is what knowledge is. So are we to believe that he invented fucking knowledge when he defined it? I mean, you tell me, did Aristotle define knowledge for everyone? I don't think he did. You know what I mean? That's my answer. But he pretended to have done it. So I think that that's false. That was a false assumption of Aristotle, but people assumed it. For example, Alfred North Whitehead called him the greatest European metaphysician. Now, I think this is false. First of all, Aristotle was not a metaphysician. Secondly, he was not European. so you know,
You gotta assume all of those cats told that shit from the
I think-
Egyptians.
I
When
think-
they
I
got
think-
there, they had
ahead,
hospitals, right? Libraries. Science books would have been in those libraries. Science would have been a thing before fucking Aristotle came and renamed it or whatever the fuck it was. These were the guys that
where's
discovered.
the science books before
Well,
Aristotle? Where's the science books?
They burned them after they took them to
Well,
in the
Alexandria.
library at
remember?
Alexandria.
Well, then you don't know where they are. I mean, they're
How
gone.
about-
I know
Okay,
that
so how
science
about
existed.
this?
I'm not crazy, right?
How about we
you have
bring
no
it?
proof of what you're talking about. That's all I'm trying to
Sure
How
say.
about
I
we
do.
bring
It's
it back
common sense.
to today?
What other
Stop
man?
arguing over
What?
about
Oh, stop worrying
definitions
about
in the
arguing. We're
past.
men. That nigga can handle
Yeah,
it. We're men.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. This is a good distraction
I-
from what I was feeling earlier.
Well, I have an
I'd like-
interesting transition to go from science being evil. Whereas
Well-
today's version of
Yeah, let's talk
science,
about that.
medicine, and technology is technically the fourth horseman, the one that comes in on death, with Hades following him, and a fourth of the population dies.
What did you just do? Did you just grab her? Put her back.
Wait, say it again. You said science is one of the four horsemen. Is that what you just said?
I'm
It
saying
kills a
modern
quarter?
day medicine, science, and technology is the
Yes.
fourth horseman, the one that comes in on a pale horse or light
It
green
kills a
with
quarter of the people.
Hades following.
Wow. Wow. Could
I think
feasibly
that's
be,
kinda
yeah.
broad.
I hadn't
Yeah,
heard it
I have
before,
the
but-
first
Solid tool.
horseman. So I've got the first horse, the one that comes in all white, who bows and wears a crown. I have that
Okay.
as spiritual world conquest, which began with Constantine the Great, who saw a vision of a cross and created a universal religion law with the Council of Nicaea and the papacy system.
That's my
Pope-
12th
So
great
the
grandpa.
first horse
That's
is
white.
Christianity.
It's
My
the
12th
pap-
great grandpa is the first horseman.
It's,
Woo, woo.
it's the Pope.
It's the Pope.
Then
Yeah,
you've
we
got
gotta break this
Red
down.
Rider that comes in, who took peace from the land by slaying others with his sword. This is military world conquest,
It's
which
logical.
began with Charlemagne the Great, who created the Holy Roman Empire by conquering Europe and created the cardinal system. There's your reds. Then you've got the black that comes in, the rider that holds a pair of scales in his hand. This is your economic and intellectual world conquest, which began with Ignatius of Loyola, a member of the Los Alumbrados, which literally means the enlightened, aka the Illuminati. And they created the Jesuits. They're in the black. And then I have the rider is named Death, and Hades follows him and kills a fourth of the population with famine and disease and plague. This is your spiritual
And we up
death
to like
and
6
literal
horses
population
now.
reduction. This is where we are today. This is everything that's incorporating science and technology. And I think this began with the very first vaccine in 1796 by Dr. Edward Jenner, who realized that people infected with the cowpox were immune to smallpox, and vaccine comes from the Latin word vacca, which means cow. And that's the only vaccine that's been created in all of history that actually has immunity to anything. All the other vaccines are bullshit that basically creates harm in your body and separates the ethereal body from your physical body and creates the inability to actually have spirituality, and you can only be a materialistic person.
That
I
because
love it
vaccine is
all.
derived from the word for vacate, the same root word as vacate, and the cow thing is just smoke.
I love
We
all that
got
shit, but
onto
it
the
sounds like we had
entire-
about 6 horses there, though. I'm just saying.
There were 4:
All right,
white, red, black, and the pale green one.
Jack, you were saying?
Is that like a biblical reference? I missed that
Yes,
one.
that's
Yeah.
Revelation. They're the 4 horsemen.
I got you. My church never really got the revelation. I think they was. Oh no.
Most churches seem to want to avoid that.
Yeah,
Jack,
yeah.
what's on your mind?
Seems like a lot. Looks like a lot. Let it all out, Jack.
Well, I've been trying to participate, but again, it blows my mind.
You
It
know,
really
you
does.
weren't trying to participate. You was
Hey,
trying
Joe,
to take it somewhere.
shut the hell up. You
Yeah.
weren't paying
Uh-oh.
any attention to me.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
That's not
The
Christ-like, Jack.
reason, hey, the reason,
Peace and love, Jack. Praise God. Let's go.
Yeah, you both, Jack. I'll lower mine, you lower yours.
the reason we got into the historical and the discussions on philosophy was originally the topic was offering the connection between Stoicism and being a good moral man or woman, a follower of Christ. That was really the idea, that Christianity and Stoicism have some connections together. And Sarah, I love what you described. I've heard many people who've studied the Bible and study what's going on that say, hey, the signs are here. Signs are here, brothers and sisters.
It's the end of the world.
Well,
It's not the end of the world, it's the end of the age.
it's the beginning of the new.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
When we start, I was thinking this earlier, and thank you for allowing me to bring it back. I was thinking this earlier. We've grown up in a world and a society with a lot of us and them. Us today, them in the past, us here, them over there. When we start recognizing the we-ness,
Yes.
the oneness of us all, that we are all parts of the one, with the one, for the one time here on earth, right? So what do we want to bring forth? I think the philosophies, history shows mankind was confused in a lot of ways for a lot of reasons, and it's obvious the collective masses drifted away between spirit and science. And those two, science just reveals what God has created. Honestly, it's just a way of looking at that which is, and I think that's what the Machine Lives was offering, right?
Well, I guess Machine Lives is saying it wasn't revealed until Aristotle came along what God created.
No.
That's the only thing I push back on. I agree with a lot of what he says, but that's the only thing
Yeah.
I kind of push back on
Yeah,
was that
no.
statement of this
No,
person
it's the
came
it's
with
the
the
it's the
knowledge.
supremacy of science. You know, the supremacy of science came with
There.
Aristotle is what I was trying to say. You know, the superiority, because Aristotle had rejected the forms, so he claimed that you know, this, you know, combination of truth, beauty, and goodness, that actually it couldn't be had, that you had to actually you know, knowledge doesn't come from the forms. See, Plato thought that everybody already knows everything, that we just forgot what we originally knew. He called all knowing a form of remembering, because he believed in reincarnation.
I
So
believe
he
that.
believed, yeah, so he believed that not knowing is just remembering. This is a process he called anamnesis, you know, and it's different from another process called aesthesis, which is the act of bringing knowledge, materializing into the world, where the word aesthetics comes from. You
So
know,
that would
Dude,
coincide
the
with
word.
made in God's image, right? So if we're made in God's image, we already know. It's just we didn't
It's
remember.
logical.
So, you know, and now we just got to remember that. And they say every 300 years they do a reset. Once people start to remember, they need to
Ooh, I
reset
never
because
heard that.
they don't want people remembering who we are, because you can't control people that actually know who and what we are and the power that is inside of us.
yeah, and that's
I think.
that's
Hold
actually,
on.
yeah,
We
that
said
actually goes with what Plato believed, because he believed in the precession of the equinox, and he believed in the cyclical sort of time movements. But yeah, I think Brother Talcott wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Jack.
It slipped. The idea is that we are bringing forth the new. We're here to break the patterns of the past, to remember, and to help remind each
Facts.
other that, hey, while things look tough, while things look dark today, we can help each other become more stoic, pushing through, understanding the emotions, not allowing the world and the emotions to hold us back.
I think to add to your point, Jack, literally, I'm trying to look it up. Knowledge or gnosis, I'm trying to look it up. It literally means, if you look up the etymology, to bring out. It's not, you're not inputting information. You're
That was
bringing out.
dope,
You're
J.
not. You're bringing
Dope.
out what's already within.
That's dope.
So, literally, as teachers and everything, educators, you're supposed to bring out what's already within these kids. It's not about inputting information and stuff like that. So it's kind of like, to what he kind of said. In a sense, we already do know most of this stuff. We're literally here just to kind of reinforce what's already observable and obvious to everybody.
Yeah,
For
and
us
if
to
you
try and
lean,
input,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was just gonna add that if you lean towards discovery, that knowledge is discovered instead of invented, then you lean towards Stoicism rather than Epicureanism.
And that's
that
why
was,
they
and
needed
that's,
to separate. Go ahead, Jay.
no, that's the only reason I kind of pushed back on the original point of what was it, Aristotle or whatever. Just
Science.
those kind of ideas, yeah, science. Those kind of ideas that, hey, this person invented this, and this is something you need to remember and hold a value to. That's not important. It's nothing new under the sun. Everything is,
Exactly.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
why
To
science became so important for them, to separate people from God and actually separate from the knowing and saying, no, look at what we all did. And it was pointing
That's
that
the
ego on us. Oh, look, we created this, we did this, opposed to giving credit where
let's
credit is
And
due,
that's
that it comes from the
let's say
universe.
and
let's
that's
say
the
like
arrogance
so
of
you're
Aristotle.
saying,
30 minutes ago.
He claimed to have invented science, A, but B, he divorced it from the sacred, and C, he then compartmentalized knowledge, separating it into different subjects.
That was the answer to our question. Why was science evil? Jesse helped you out a ton right there. That's the best evidence I've heard so far for why science would be evil.
because it was separated from God, and I think that says everything that we was
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
looking
and
at.
I
but the
disagree.
problem,
I'll push
but the
back.
problem is that I already said that when I said it, he divorced knowledge from the sacred. But
I
okay.
don't believe that.
From the
But all
sacred,
right,
from God.
I said
No,
that like 20 minutes ago, dude.
Well,
I don't believe that what we talking about, science is evil because of why. I gotta stop smoking so much weed. But I don't agree with whatever the fuck conclusion we just came to there. I don't agree with it.
True science is not divided from God. The real
That's
Praise
what it
God.
was.
scientists
Science
know
is
Praise
at
God.
the very
Praise
core of
God.
it, the
Yes.
subparticles that Higgs boson that they like to call the God particle is God. That is
Thank you, sir. Thank
everything
you.
of creation.
The
But
Higgs
try and
boson,
get
that's another conversation.
those scientists that are paid to tell you that God doesn't exist, or to go along with it, or
They literally
Luciferians or
prove God
whoever.
exists.
They will tell you that it doesn't come from God, that it came from a big bang. But I'd like to tell you that the big bang is literally the single cell of the God spark that split into the masculine and feminine through meiosis, and then went back into union and collided in a big bang, exploding in everything in our universe.
I think we
It's a-
separated, and we're still in that process of coming back to the oneness. Everybody's
that's
still in
interesting.
their own.
So you have the original God spark that split,
Yeah.
and then it splits again, it splits again, it splits again. But the initial split that splits again, that goes back into union and created everything that's in the universe.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's
You
what
said
I think.
Big Bang. Jay Hubb said where I think we split and coming back together. And if you remember the first theory of the Big Bang all those years was that the universe was expanding, and that gravity at some point it would slow down and gravity would pull it back together. That was the theory. It split and it'd be pulled back together, which so far has not turned out to be true, by the way.
Well, the Stoics fundamentally believe that nature was God, and this is fully explained within the thought of Spinoza.
Like the
Spinoza
Stoics
actually,
more.
Yeah, he made the declarative statement. He said nature is God, and he
I
was
would
actually
believe that.
expelled from the Jewish community of Amsterdam for declaring this.
You know he
Because
was right
yeah.
then. If the church kicked him out, you know he was on the something.
I think that's kind of like what I talked about one time before is, like the Egyptian thought process. Everybody think that they have, 1,000 different gods, but they're literally attributes, and
Of
they
one God,
understood
that's what I've
of
always
the
heard.
one,
Yeah,
attributes of the
yeah,
one. And I
yeah.
think that if we can understand that everything, it can be a perfected attribute. You know what I'm saying? You could be LeBron James may be the perfected attribute of a basketball player, right?
I
You know what
understand.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that's just one attribute he's lacking in other areas. There's
I
another
understand.
person, that's the attribute, the perfected how do you it's the word I'm trying to think of it. It's like literally like when you're creating video game characters, right? If I'm
Mhm.
creating a basketball character, you know what I'm
Programming
saying?
them.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's got 99 jumping, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But he
yeah.
might not be able to be the fastest person, you know what I'm
The
saying?
the attributes.
Everybody,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah,
attributes. It's like
for me it's Isaiah Thomas.
You
That's the
like
real
right.
Isaiah?
Okay, okay. Okay. No, but it's literally like in that time, you had, Osar, you had Set, you know what I'm saying? Set, who was literally Satan, that became Satan in the Christian Bible, who was the in any movie, he's the villain. It's the same character. That's what I was trying to explain to everybody. It's only one movie with the same characters that they give a little bit of, they change their story up a little bit, but it's the same people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
comic
The
uh,
books,
basic
all that
hero
shit is.
story,
yeah, yeah, the
About
same
the
hero.
hero's journey.
They're
about
gonna
a
go through
year.
exactly the hero's journey. They're gonna go through
Hmm.
their hard times, and and kind of lose themselves. And like the classic one for me, which was my favorite movie growing up, was Lion King. It's the classic
Hmm.
story of the Messiah and the hero. You know what I'm saying? He was the king. He went through his hard time. His dad died, and he had to go to his sunken place, or whatever you want to call it, with Timon and Pumbaa to find himself. You know what I'm saying? And then he comes out of that. It's the same story, literally, like a movie. You know what I'm saying? I can name 100 movies right now. We all can that had the
The
same,
The
hero's
same
journey.
plot.
the same storyline. So I mean,
It's literally what everyone is going through. That's what
yeah,
this spiritual awakening is. It is our own personal
Very
hero's
good.
journey.
About a
and,
year
and it
ago, I
and it
had
and it
this.
came from somewhere, and that's why that's kind of the point I was getting to. If we can't, that's why I kind of pushed back against his original premise of somebody created something when Aristotle came. No,
Well,
all these
it's
stories.
just like the Lion King, in the Lion King, he's reversing the idea of Horus and Set, and saying that the light god is the good one, and the black god is the bad one, and then he's making the black lions the bad guys.
Mm.
So he's connecting this with the racial teleology, and that's
Woo.
because Walt Disney was a Nazi. So it's like we do
Agreed.
have to worry about the origins of the ideas and where they come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's important who founded these ideas, and what their agenda was. He wasn't trying to teach you Egyptian magic. He was trying to teach you Memphis Mizraim Freemasonry, which they believe is derived from Egyptian magic, but it's not the
Right.
same
It's
thing.
the same story.
I think it
It's
originally
not the
comes
same
from the
story.
reptilians and the Nephilim. That's where the Freemasons get all of their information. That's who they worship. It comes to
Some
angels.
truth.
That's where it
There has to
originates.
be, yeah, there has to be some truth to that, because evil doesn't just manifest out of nowhere, for sure.
I'll tell you a wild theory. I think
Yeah.
that the reptilians came and they're the ones that fused their consciousness with apes and used eugenics to change the apes into human forms. And the true humans were never apes, but were always of this form and were divine. And is how we came to all of these different blood types that don't interact with each other, because we have all of these different races. But the original
I,
human was RH null.
Joe, I need some of that weed.
I gotta know. That goes in line with one of my theories that the original guys did come from monkeys, the cats that's out here running around, and the ones that got the story about being in Eden, a different set of people, God's people. So I got a weird theory too that kind of goes
Yeah,
with y'all.
they all
I
use
got- I got-
eugenics. They use that's the true Nazis, is where they're trying to make a supreme race by gene manipulation, gene therapy, cell what. Oh,
Nazi
too many
shit.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing all of that shit
And
to
never
try and
die.
maintain
Yeah.
with true
I
humanity,
got-
where we are all actually going under the process of changing from a carbon body to a crystalline body, and they're in the process of trying to manipulate it so they can basically rise with us. Because
Like
if
in
you
the
can't
Murphy
raise
something.
your frequency up to a certain level, when we hit this lovely Armageddon state, they will perish. And I don't know who it was we were talking to yesterday or the day before, where he thought most of the people were going to die off. Basically, those that are marked by the beast, or don't have. I don't know exactly what the requirements are, but if they don't meet them, they will perish. And this is the process where we're all having to go through this awakening. And if you don't actually become born again and become like Christ and become part of the body of Christ, you will perish. That's the separation of the wheat from the chaff. And that occurs at the end of the age of Virgo and the
Yes.
beginning of Leo, which is exactly where we are right now.
They say that's why they put the fire, the symbol of the flaming swords, in front of the garden in order to get back, because you can't get back unless that flame separates the chaff from the wheat.
Mm-hmm. And the
Stay away
cherubim
from my
hold
garden.
those flaming swords.
Yeah, the flaming
they
sword.
guard.
And
Yep.
Torchlight, you better watch out, Flo. Fuck you.
The
got
Yeah, this
cherubim
is my
protect
flaming
it.
sword.
The
Well, I
conclusion
didn't
I
quite get to the link between Paul and cynicism, but there's a lot of links there in terms of his self-deprecating sort of tone that he employs. During his letters, there's lots of instances where he's like, rough on himself. He says, it's not me who sins, but the sin living in me. He sort of
Yeah.
platonizes
That's a
the
cop out.
concept of sin.
That's a total cop out.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't do
not a
this. It wasn't
total
me. It
cop-out.
was the bad thing that did it.
Well, when they said
That's
also in the
that's what I was
Bible,
getting to from the beginning when I was saying,
go
like,
ahead.
if people like say, like in the church I grew up in, it was the idea or perspective that, for all of sin have come short of the glory of God. You know what I'm saying? You're nothing but a sinner. You know what I'm saying? It just puts you
Yeah.
in a degenerate mindset to where you
Mm.
are, you know what I'm saying? You
The
already feel like
fetus
you failed.
mentality and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And you
natural
can't.
sin is I have a big issue, or what is original sin? I have a big issue with the original sin concept. Like, well, okay, so we're all fucked from the get-go.
Well, but it's weird. When I read
Jesus
Epictetus
is
and
the
he was
way.
saying, "Be hard on yourself," everyone agreed. You know what I'm
Jack's
saying?
doing the finger rub.
So when I
well,
was
I've
go
come
ahead,
to
Jack.
I've come to the conclusion that only God is real. All of our history, all of our sciences, all the stories we've learned, all the stories we say, they're just thoughts.
Yeah.
So we are experiences of consciousness within some divine cosmic light show that is so so magnificent. It can be described and explained many ways, but what I think we are is
Spilled my weed.
biological technology for the purposes of receiving and raising, transmitting thoughts. One of the explanations is the creator divided itself for the purposes of knowing, experience, wisdom, gaining the perspectives of who we are. So if we are part of that, part of the oneness that is, part of all that was and will ever be, let's see what we can do. Let's see how much we can connect to each other in this lifetime. How many people can join together with the same intentions, the same purpose of a better world.
Let me give you this, Jack. What if, in order for you to pull that off and us to join together, the key to that is forgiveness, unlimited forgiveness.
Then I'm out.
No one wants
Well-
a part of that shit.
Divine faith is available for us. The faith, the forgiveness, the mercy, the love that was shown through the character of Jesus. That's all available for us to choose within.
Unconditional love. That's what I'm talking about.
Amen.
Unconditional
And
love.
here,
Anybody in for that shit? No. What about the guy you don't
No.
like down the street? Fuck that nigga. Fuck unconditional
Yeah,
love,
I
right?
don't-
Fuck that shit.
Problem is you can have unconditional love, and then the person that you're trying to get you love unconditionally is not receiving of that. And then
That's
You
nature.
can only
That's how
offer-
life goes.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's just
You
like
know,
taking a horse to water. You can only guide him,
Make
but you
him
can't
drink.
make him
And
drink.
let's be very
Yeah.
clear. God doesn't offer unconditional love.
Why do you say that?
Says who?
Ooh, say
God
it
is
again,
unconditional love.
Mr. Jack.
What'd you say, Flo?
Says hell.
But hell was man-made, created, right? It was Gehenna before. It was just a burning dump, and it wasn't a fiery place that people went if they sinned. That's what the church created to
I don't
introduce
know.
fear into the
Ooh,
consciousness.
says who? The church, baby.
I don't know the history of hell. I just know that it's pretty present in I think all Abrahamic religions, maybe not Judaism, but
But that's for
it's
fear,
there.
not from
think-
God.
I think that we can. It all depends on your perspective when you're reading it. I feel like the Bible is literally like a Disney movie.
Mm.
It's depending on your perspective when you're reading it, how you receive it, right? I watched Puss in Boots as a kid, right? And then I went and rewatched it as an adult, and I
Right.
saw all of the slick little comments and stuff he was making. I was like, oh my God, what are they talking about in this movie? But it's
Right.
because I had a limited perspective at the time. I was only able to receive certain information. I
That
feel like
goes
the
with
Bible is
everything.
the same
Books.
way. The
That
Bible
goes
is the
with
same way.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Bible, especially when Jesus starts talking, is parables. If you got a simple mindset, you're not even gonna catch what he's throwing at you.
Supposedly
saying?
that's why it's written that way. It's only for that those people, right?
Yeah, I mean, even the Old Testament stuff, if you don't have common sense to understand what they really talking about, you're just gonna be lost. You know what I'm saying? And really thinking that Jonah was swallowed by a big fish and survived for 3 days. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right.
And that's
Yeah.
and it's like a whole nother thing. I mean, you kind of get what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
you gotta be kind of understanding of what's really going on, because you can
I give you a J Hub along those lines. You got to be understanding what's really going on. Even when it comes to certain links and shit that I like, I can't send them to certain motherfuckers because it might be from CNN or MSNBC, and I know their mind is not ready yet. I'm not trying to get you to believe Rachel Maddow is like honest or something. I just want you to see the article or something they're talking about. You know,
I don't believe Rachel Maddow because I know what it did to my mama. But that's
I know my
but that's my
mom can't
perspective.
talk
You know
her
what I'm
out
saying?
of it.
That's my perspective, you know what I'm saying? So I got a preconceived notion on it, and I'm gonna think a certain way. That's kind of what I was getting to. Like, if it comes at levels. So if I can literally tell a story and it's only gonna be received by the person, it's only gonna be received by the people that it was meant for. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Even
Yes.
the Bible
Hey,
says
check
only
this out.
144,000 is gonna be ready at that time. You know what I'm saying?
Check
It ain't
this
for
out.
everybody.
And those not only is it not for everybody, there will be spirits that actively try and stop you from getting that message to the motherfuckers, you know, to as few people as possible. They will jump inside of these niggas up here, or
Yep.
jump inside of somebody else and jump up here
I
to
call
keep
them
you.
agents of chaos. I've met many on these fucking panels, many
Who?
agents of chaos who
Who?
bring nothing helpful, just bring insults, negativity,
Ain't no
disruption,
names, Jack.
accusations.
Don't name names. Don't name names. But
Amen.
this is where Paul may have been going when he said it wasn't me, it's the evil in me. It's the same with those cats. Not that Paul, I'm talking about from the Bible.
Right. It is the evil within. But this is where our maturity, our self-development, the Stoicism, we can learn self-control, to be virtuous, to be honorable, to be truthful. And
that's the battle. We battle not man. It is the huge numbers of evil spirits in the unseen world. It's the demons that's tricked you and inside of you that actually you've been cultivating. You're partly responsible for because you've been giving these niggas a safe haven home in you. They gain power, and that's what we do. We constantly try to evict them cats.
Well, let's come back to that unconditional love and the acts of forgiveness. Right? That divine forgiveness, to be able to hang there with fucking nails in your hand, allegedly, be able to hang there like that and to say, forgive them. They know not what they do. You know, shit, that's a pretty big goal
Allegedly,
to go for.
Allegedly.
Here's the deal. What's to forgive in our lives? What is to forgive if we are grateful? And so if you can battle your judgment and move into realms of gratitude, even if it's just the gratitude of the experience. Ooh, shit, that hurt. Now I know how that feels. You know?
It'd be easier to forgive if we could.
Some wisdom.
Hold on, Jack. You said
Wisdom
allegedly.
through pain.
You telling me that my grandpa was a deacon for 60 years and gave 10% of his earnings for allegedly? Or is that what
I will say that? Yeah, I'll back that up. That alleged. Yep. So did mine, by the way.
There's some thoughts that he actually lived and went to France and lived out his life and things. So there's different stories. And when it comes from the church, you know, you have to question anything that comes from the Roman Catholic,
like
the Rome,
MSNBC or something. Yeah.
Let me point something out. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, the future I see is humanity is going to stop lying to each other, and I look forward to learning the truth. What is the truth about our history? It's waiting for us to know.
What if the truth doesn't
align
with
there,
what
Let me point out some truth about Jesus on the cross. Since there's one God, God sacrificed himself to himself in order to save his creation that it was born flawed.
Yes.
Wait, what? No.
You want that to make sense?
We just talked about this last night, Flow State. That's not the way the Trinity really works.
Well, it's not okay. I mean, I know that you said that, but I didn't. But really, it does, right? It's because essence isn't.
No, because it's two different persons. So,
well, then it's polytheism
to himself.
Everyone's goal is to be of God's essence, but it doesn't make me God when I have his essence within me.
I like herbal.
Jesus had God's essence, but he wasn't God.
I see it as we all got that essence. Jesus had it so big. He's like big brother, but surely I'm little brother. You know what I'm saying? We all have it at different degrees.
Amen. Hey, I do want, he's been patient. I'd like to welcome Brian. If you have anything, please feel comfortable.
You got the floor for 20 minutes. We've been up here talking for a while.
You guys are up here philosophizing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But where's the boots on the ground work? You know, y'all seen that video the other day.
I don't know what you said. I didn't see it.
It's wild. Paul made noise and Brian didn't get arrested for a failure to appear, but not because of Paul, just because it was a silly. It wasn't the jurisdiction. I'm glad that you didn't get arrested, Brian. I'm not trying to negate from that. That's great. I think it's amazing that he would try to get credit for sitting there and shouting whatever he was shouting.
No, the point was he was inspiring me to go past my fears because I didn't have to give them my ID. I didn't have to give them my name.
You didn't have an ID, or you did give him an ID, didn't you?
But here,
I thought you did.
Okay, do you find the people in costume to be of some supremacy? Did you win a victory here by defiance? Some working class guy at the side of the road asks you some questions, and you want to throw him some
absolutely.
defiance and attitude?
Yes, Brian, you were absolutely right. I don't even know what happened. I was about to ask you, but you're absolutely right. You have a duty to disobey. So what happened? A cop tried to give you a
You
ticket
just
on
cut
what
Jack
grounds?
off. Like, Jack, you're just gonna let him cut you off like that and totally
Oh, you ain't got to
disregard
start
your-
shit. You
Yeah,
know,
Yeah,
just
stop
start
stirring
shit.
the pot,
Listen,
O'Shea.
Hey,
listen.
Joe's
So what
on your
happened,
side here,
Brian?
Brian.
So
Joe's
what
on your
happened?
side on this.
The police wanted your ID for what?
Yeah, he's on my side, but he completely cut you off and humiliated and
God,
demasculated.
he's
O'Shea,
a
stop
grown
stirring
man.
the
He'll
pot, you
survive.
motherfucker.
He's an adult. He'll survive.
Here's
Gonna
what
tell
Only
me.
happened.
an ego
O'Shea
would
was
Yeah,
respond
somebody
that
else
way.
tell me. Yeah.
okay. O'Shea was sitting in a public parking lot,
Yeah.
living in his car with expired tags. The
Right.
cop pulled up and started asking him about his expired tags because he's on a public roadway, and he, he was on streaming with Paul, and so Paul started being all ratchet and yelling at the cops, and eventually O'Shea told him either told him his name or gave him an expired ID. I don't remember, but yeah, it's
All right. I think you're on solid
You're
legal
a-
ground. I don't think you got to give him shit, and I'm all for Paul yelling
is
at
it
him.
well the question is it a public roadway?
Let's stop.
Right.
Let's stop it, man.
I can fucking park on a public roadway with no tags. The fuck?
So what I did was just stand up for freedom, stand up for myself, show you
How
guys
did
what
you
it's
do
like
that?
to be a real man. And
How
Florida
did
State
you
of
do
Florida,
that?
you're gonna
50-year-old
tell Jack,
man.
Florida State's
Hey,
not a man. He could
Brian.
fit. He would have handled the situation differently because he's
Hey,
a coward and a hoe.
Brian, you stood. I don't know where you were at, but as I understood it, you stood up for a 50-year-old man sitting in a car next to a park, looking a little suspicious enough that people needed to come and fucking check it out.
Living
And
in a
then,
car.
rather than being able to deal with real emergencies or real problems in the community, you just exercising your rights. And I'm not saying anyone did anything right or wrong, but I don't
You ain't got no
understand.
rights. If you was in my neighborhood, I'm calling the police on you. I'm being honest.
For sure. If I saw O'Shea, I'd call the police too.
I'm not calling the police. I'm just being straight up.
Zay, where do you live? I will come park on your street corner. I live for shit like this, bro. I will come out there and
Joe,
park on
nobody's
your
calling the
street.
cops
Hey.
on you. It's just O'Shea.
Well, I mean, it's
No,
it's
I'm
the
just- I'm being
reality.
honest.
Cops probably
Straight up.
come and kill you, J
You're not
Hubs, instead of me. Nigga, put
what
your
you-
hands up.
O'Shea, do you
Cops
know how
probably
many
end up
times
murdering you instead of me.
I'm
Do you know
sure.
how many
I'm
times in
sure.
the past
I'm sure
3
that
years
makes you
I've
feel a
not
lot
been
better about
arrested for a
yourself.
failure to appear
Trying to make me
ticket,
feel
just
bad.
like yours? It happens every time. I've had a warrant for failure to appear, just like yours, for like 3 years now. I never get arrested. I don't even worry about it. They don't want to extradite because it's not a big deal. It's not worth the trouble. You didn't stand up for shit.
Just because we don't get convicted or persecuted doesn't mean we won anything. I mean, Joe, you and I, we have different views. I mean, to some degree.
Good. Let's discuss them. I love to. I love this shit.
I absolutely understand standing up with each other against the oppression that these costumed people have been bringing. But the police, they're working class folks. Whether they know who they're working for or not, they're working class just like all the rest of us. The problem is those sitting comfortable in those fucking offices. That's where the problem is.
I mean, cops are problems too, but this cop was actually really nice and helpful to O'Shea.
No such
I
fucking
thought
thing. Really, right? He was really nice as he
think-
helped him outside of his rights. Leave him the fuck alone if you're really nice.
Joe,
if he's
cool.
breaking
Why don't
no
you
laws.
watch the video? Watch the video. This dude was trying to help him get information and resources.
Why was he rapping with you? Because you know I had no tags. Nigga, write me a ticket and beat it. Why is he asking him questions? Fuck on.
Oh my God, Joe, watch the video.
All right.
Well, I think if Joe watched it, he'd still be saying the exact same
He maybe would, but like I don't like cops. I hate being in a position where I have to be the one defending the cops, Joe.
It's my fault.
It is
So
your
that
fucking
cop-
fault.
That cop was keeping the community safe, just like if J Hub saw a car parked at a park, he'd call the cops. He's saying that was at that park in his neighborhood.
That's
call the
why you have
police.
a duty to disobey, man. You got to get rid
I'm
of
not
that
saying he's
fucking
keeping the
cop
community safe.
mentality.
There are a lot of laws that I don't think contribute to safety at all. I wasn't supporting.
So him taking me out of the car, and basically, which is an arrest. You're detained. You're fucking, you're arrested.
You said you're not under arrest. You're not.
Yeah, but you're
under
detained. A detainment is an arrest.
Stop
If I
it,
can't,
Flo,
if I'm
stop
ordered
it.
to
That's
come out
what
of the
the fuck
car,
the cop said
and I cannot,
explicitly.
and I
Said you're
lose all my
not
free
But
will.
listen,
to do what
Flo,
I
give me a
want.
second, Flo. If I grab you and pull you out of your car and tell you, don't worry, you're not being detained or something, you'd be like, obviously, I'm being detained, nigga. Why
He
is it
said
when the
you're being-
cop does
He
it, you
said
don't
you're
have
being
vision?
detained. He said you're being detained. You're not under arrest. So O'Shea's sitting here saying, I was arrested. No, the fuck you weren't, dude. You just don't understand words.
Detain literally is an element
It is arrest. I'm talking about by the literal meaning of what we're saying. A detainment is an arrest, and the arrest he's talking about is where they go through the paperwork and the fingerprinting. But an arrest is an arrest. For that brief moment of what he's calling detainment, I'm calling arrest.
It's
So I
an
wanna know
element
what
of
you-
arrest. It's when your movement has been stopped. You've
How
literally been
about
arrested.
this?
Your movement has been arrested.
Hold on. If you're in the park in my neighborhood, you got to pass by Karens at the end of each block. We got Karens posted up at the corner homes in the neighborhood, right?
Yes.
If you drive in our neighborhood and try and park over there, we don't know you. You ain't never been around here, and you look a certain way. We gonna question you.
I gotta come, bro.
Sometimes it'll be a man that walks up to you, say, "Hey, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Where are you from?" And he'll
Isn't
do that.
exactly
You know what I'm
how
saying?
black people used to talk about getting profiled? Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, I mean, if
looking out for the community.
Yeah.
Can we hear what you did, O'Shea? What did you do that was standing up?
Yeah, it's some dude
He
parked in my
wanted my
neighborhood
last
smoking
name.
in the park.
He wanted my
I'm
last
bringing
name.
my kids up
You
there.
told him your
walk
last
around.
name. You told him you're on the car.
Remove him from our society. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Remove him from our presence. You're not welcome. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's gonna happen. You can call
You
it
literally did
detainment.
everything
You
they
can
asked
call it
of you.
detain. You can call it arrest.
He
whatever
ordered
you
me
want
out
to
of
call
the
it.
car.
You got to get the hell up out of
Hey,
here.
if you
car
try and
and I
pull
give
that
him
on
the
me,
name.
J Hub, your city, you're gonna pay 35 grand for
I
making
ain't
me
paying
move.
nothing.
Sure, the
I
city
ain't
will
paying
pay
nothing.
that. The cop won't pay it. Who you called, it will come out of your pocket. Your taxes will be higher because of you're a soft ass nigga, right? Who I'm allowed to be anywhere in the United States I want to be, and I do that. And I've had motherfuckers come up to my car, right? Shit, I don't fucking move.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, if in fact these people are called to help investigate the community,
It ain't their fault.
what is the purpose? I mean, seriously, it could be a very quick conversation. Hey,
Well, you
I'm
wouldn't
just
mind if
going
I
out,
send the police
whatever.
to your door to investigate you? Just because I want to. Would you mind if I send them to your door, knock on your door, and have a conversation with you? Would you mind?
No. The problem is you ain't
Jack,
got no
would you
tag.
mind?
There's a difference between my door, which is a place of residence, and me
Yes.
living out of a home.
Literally, there's
home
not
with
a whole lot. Not
wheels.
as much as you think. They're both your property. They're not supposed to. You'd open the door to that motherfucker. They're a lot more similar than you might think.
Hey, Joe, here,
Yeah.
look, we're on the same side, but here's the deal. The solution, I believe, is not in harassing the workers. It's in educating
It's
them.
in harassing the person
It
that's
is
sitting in
in
his car.
It
That's the
is in
solution.
educating the workers we interact with.
That's
so
what
we don't
Brian did, and I don't
need-
even know what he did. He educated the worker to stay out of his fucking
That
business.
is
That's
not
his
what
job.
he did. He deferred to Paul, and Paul was shouting shit at the cop like a drunk ratchet.
That's
It was-
what I'm getting
was-
to.
The cop walked up and said my
expired
windows
tag.
are down. The cop
got
walked up and said
expired-
my windows are down, which is suspicious. And then he started fucking. That's what he said. He said you're sitting at the park with your windows down. Because most people roll their windows up and start walking around the park.
Hey, they gonna check they gonna scan your, they ain't even gonna check your registration. They gonna scan it. It got a barcode on it now. They gonna scan your registration, see if it's valid, see if you got insurance. They gonna ask you for your ID. You don't want to present it. That's fine. That shows you ain't no law-abiding citizen. That's a tax-paying member of our community. You're not a tax-paying member of our
Look at
community.
Joe.
You're not welcome.
If I
Look,
don't
we're not
provide
we're
my
not
ID,
kept,
I'm not
you're
a.
not welcome to
Let's
cause trouble and ruckus. I'm trying to bring my kids over there. We don't want some guy that's just
Oh my
posted up in the
God.
park. Just
Hey,
posted up
Jay,
over here while I'm trying to go take
Let
my
them go.
kids to the
This
park
is
and let them run
it's the
around. I
best
don't know
thing
you.
smoking, bro.
You
This
over
is
here
about to be
smoking
a
and shit in the
blast.
car, posted
My
up with
set.
your car full of shit.
We don't know.
I
We
don't
don't
want
want
you
that
over
black
there.
people with their loud music, stinking of fried
I
chicken
don't
at the
black
park.
people,
Fucking,
ratchet
my
children
children are trying to swing on the
ratchet
swing for
blacks,
Christ's
homeless
sake.
whites. It don't matter who it is.
this
I
is
don't want
Causing a ruckus.
degenerate people around me.
hey,
Hey,
how about
you
this?
guys hear the John talk?
Ooh. Hey, this
How
is the
about
crux. We finally got there. This is the crux. I'm glad you finally said it.
right?
Degenerate people. That's what it comes down to. You decide who comes where in your neighborhood and all of that shit. That's
I
not
moved away from them
American.
people.
That's not godly. I can't tolerate that shit. If you
Judge,
got a better reason other than he's a bum, he's got to go. Tell it to me.
do you want to hear? Do you want to hear the great
I
contribution?
can go. No, Joe. If I want to go on Sunday, to where these people are, that's fine. I'm talking about in my neighborhood, my community, where I
Yes.
moved away from all degeneracy.
Why is
I
he?
paid. I paid.
Why is the catnip and degenerate? Right?
Is it all
How
white
you,
people?
how we make
Look,
that leap?
hold
He's just a
on.
regular dude.
Let's Joe, stop
Guys,
acting like you don't know what the
let
hell I'm
me
talking about. If
I
I
let's
go
really
move,
bring
don't. I
it
really
back.
don't, man. All I
Let's
hate with his homeless
Joe.
motherfuckers,
Hey
Joe. Really,
Joe.
last
Hey
Sunday I was
Joe.
out there
Hey
feeding
Joe.
homeless. I
Hey
don't
Joe.
understand the
Hey
difference.
Joe. Hey Joe.
And giving them clothes.
Hey Joe.
Yeah.
Oh dear, man, you're getting excited.
I am. I love it, though. Don't cut my fun off.
All right, well, let's bring it to a bigger picture, okay?
Do you want to?
The
praise
bigger,
God, praise God, Jack.
I
the bigger
I queued
picture.
up the ratchet sounds that Paul was making. If you want me to play a little bit of them for
I
Joe real quick,
do. Please.
Jack, do you want to?
Joe can't sit still.
Cooperate, comply. Comply.
You guys do all day, just speaking
Submit, cooperate, comply.
That's how I go about a career change, man.
All
Shaking my
times.
head.
Everyone, everywhere. All times.
God, it's wrong.
Paul's not being very helpful.
Comply, cooperate for money and safety. Submit, comply, cooperate for money and safety.
How is
Wait.
this productive?
Hey, can we pause? Someone said Paul was
I don't
being helpful.
understand.
Someone said Paul was being helpful. He was not being helpful.
It was O'Shea, the same guy who thinks they were standing up for freedoms and principles and rights and shit. Jay Hub, you're muted.
All that shit sounds good. All that shit goes out the window. You come in the wrong places. You know what I'm
Isn't
saying?
that I've
Go
been in
be
South
in
Central,
free and
Compton,
principle.
New York, Brooklyn. I've been all over the country.
I ain't in
3
them big
fucking
cities.
times.
I'm not
Black
in them
on
big
black
cities.
I've been in
violence.
fucking, you name a little
I'm
one.
not in them big
Baltimore,
cities.
St.
I
All right,
James.
can I
specifically.
Oh, you're
Can
not
you
in the
hear
big
me?
cities.
Can I
All right.
bring
I
this
don't
back
you
to
hear
the
me?
bigger? Bring this
Yo,
back to the bigger
Yeah,
picture,
yeah. Who's talking?
Jack, can you
please.
hear me?
Yes, who's that?
Yep.
KT.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. Oh my God. It must have been on mute. I mean, I'm driving. It's like insane. Look, the elephant in the room that nobody wants to acknowledge is that Brian O'Shea is a 49-year-old man living in his mother's 1996 Ford Taurus
Let's talk
on
about
the
it, man.
lam,
Come on.
On the lam?
camping in that motherfucker, drinking his piss, and the cops roll up on that motherfucker and they go, "Yo, what do we got going on here?" And they run his nut when they run his information, which they get from him. He willingly gives every bit of his information. No
Every single
problem.
thing.
They go, "All right, bro. Yeah. You might want to like treat your mom with a little more respect, like loading it up with piss and shit and stuff.
No, they do.
And
They're talking.
you know,
Yeah.
get with the program. And your comedy is not funny. It didn't have that. I think.
Some of you blinked out on some of that.
They're
Why are we
talking
all
to him like he's the
shocked?
kid peeling glue off of
Did it-
his hands, you know?
What? Oh my God.
He's talking
What
to
I
us,
want
he's
to
a
know
kid,
is
so
how did he
cool,
end
man.
up living in a car? Because there's something had to have happened. You don't just end up there
And
because
Sarah,
you
Sarah,
chose
that's,
to be there.
Sarah, that's my
If you're
point.
sitting
That's
in
my
a
point.
park with your windows down, a cop comes up to you and asks you to ID yourself. If you refuse to ID yourself, apparently they could threaten to charge you with obstruction and forcibly take you out of the car.
That's not a thing. I'm a cop watcher.
It's
Well, that's
easier
what
to
happened
argue
in the
that point
video.
than
If you
Joe,
get
guys
your
want
life
to just
together.
play the
Change
video
the
and watch
fact
the
that
interaction,
if the
because
car
that's
doesn't
what
come back
happened.
registered to him,
It's
The
easier
most-
to
They
argue
came up
that
to
point
the
than get
car.
your life together.
The
the
most
car
that
came
you-
back registered to his mom, right? So you got a woman's name and you're looking at a dude sitting here at the
means
park.
nothing. I can have anybody's car I want. All of that shit's legal. It's legal for me to be at the park. If you have an issue, if there is something illegal, my tag or something, I ain't got to open my mouth. You can write the ticket, leave it on the car. We ain't got to have no conversation. All those things I'm talking about are legal. I can legally, you guys, what the cop can do, I can legally sit there. I ain't got to rap with that dude. And there's nothing he can do for me. If he take the car, I can walk away. He's got nothing. That's the truth.
Okay, so let's get to that. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's somebody living in their car,
Yeah.
and you pull up on them, it ain't their car. You know what I'm saying? It's expired. It got expired tags. That's the point I'm talking about, Joe. You can understand. You may not.
I
you might
cannot
disagree.
understand.
You,
I
no,
offer
you can
that man
hold on.
help. I offer that man assistance. I become that man's best friend. I advise him. I don't want to hurt him in any capacity. I
He
never
moves
crossed
into
my
your
mind
I
to
house.
don't
belittle him
want
and
to
call
hurt him
him
either.
names and say degenerate, get out of my hood. Things like that never crossed my mind. I'm his best friend. I'll keep the cops off of that nigga for weeks.
I don't know
That's
that
where I'm
nigga.
coming
I
from.
don't know him. I don't know him from.
Yeah,
being-
no,
I
I've
thought
got
we
my
were all
bring
one,
it-
J Hub. I thought we were all one. What happened to that philosophy? Fuck that
That's
shit up.
Jack. That's
That
Can I
was
bring
good
it
when I was
back?
talking to
Yep.
Jack. Let's talk.
I want to
let's
bring
talk
it
about
back to the bigger picture again. To try again. Okay. The bigger picture is, why are we so divided? We've been conditioned to be at war with each other. To
Fuck a
believe that.
cop. Fuck
to
a
believe
cop.
that-
Because you believe that shit.
Hey
you believe
Joe,
about
would you
cops.
shut up? Holy
trying.
Christ!
Yeah.
I mean, I'm patient.
Hey Jack,
and congratulations on
Go ahead, Jack.
1,500 subs. What a great milestone.
Congrats. Praise
Thank you.
God.
Thank you
And
guys. It took
Joe
me a while
Cool
to
has
get
been
there.
exactly the same loudmouth the whole way.
I don't know what that means.
I gotta go though. I'm gonna. It's been great. O'Shea, you didn't do shit. Good seeing you panel. Good seeing you chat. Congratulations on 15.
Thank you.
Of course, the
Flo.
biggest
This-
bitch on the internet would say that when
This
someone
is
actually
amazing.
Okay, hold on. I got
something
5
fucking
more minutes
worthy.
for you to suss this out if you want to.
You're just a bitch, dude. You're a female. Just transition
I
already.
want
You do nothing to stand up for yourself and act like a man. You're just a hoe.
Please tell
How
me.
you a man
what
living in
you
your
did.
car in the park?
How did
hold on,
you
hold on,
stand up
hold
for
on.
Get
yourself?
yourself
How the fuck
out
you a
and
man?
trick
No,
yourself
how the
out on
fuck
these
you a man
panels for
in your
nothing.
car living in the park?
Just to
Stop.
ramble about nonsense. You don't stand for shit.
You ain't.
What
You
did- how
standing
did you-
in the fucking
Oh,
park? in
J-Hub,
your
he's
mama
talking to me.
car.
Let me get it. I gotta
J-Hub.
go. J-Hub, chill. O'Shea, what did you do? What do you think you did that was standing up for anything?
I stood up for freedom, which is I didn't have to give him any ID or my name. And another
didn't
man
have
can't
an
come stick
ID.
his face in your
You
window
gave him
and
your
start
name.
taking rights from you. So I stood up for that situation. I got
The
other people to
only
witness
thing
it
you
to
did
inspire
was
them to do
Skype
it.
Paul and have him yell on your phone.
I got to see this
Because he
video.
really ain't got no nuts. He ain't no fucking
Oh
man.
my
He gonna
God.
Yeah,
call
you
his
did-
mama
you didn't
when he
even
run out
use
of
your
money.
own
Yeah,
nuts.
J
You
Hub's got
gonna
all the
call
nuts.
when
He's
the
gonna
cop-
call
when
the
the police
cops.
run up
He's gonna
on him.
call another
Let's be
man
honest.
about a vehicle with expired tags at the park in his hood that's scaring his children.
Bro,
Apparently,
you called another
Yeah,
man
and you
because
gonna
the
get the
cops
fuck
were,
up out of there,
were
just like
talking
you
to
did.
you.
I bet your car. I bet when the police left, your car wasn't there no more, and you wasn't there no more either.
no, I was there.
Grand
It's all on
opening, grand
film.
closing.
They left, and I stood there. I
It's turning
immediately
into a
smoked,
machine
lit up a
life
joint. Within 10 seconds after them walking away and me being back in the car. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can we stop?
This is great.
No,
Oh,
Jack,
no, I'm a
Jack,
troll
give me
apparently.
10,
I'm
20
fucking
seconds.
hell,
Okay,
I'm so
Like,
comply.
20 seconds. You
Right
talking
now.
about being a man and being freedom and all of this crap. How you free when you in the park trying to park in somebody else's area because you ain't got nowhere else to
It's a
go.
park. It's
You ain't
open to
got
the public
a
to
man.
anyone.
A man
But
provides
you have
for
I've
his
never even
family
been to that
and
park
can
before. It's a
provide for
hiking
himself.
trail. It
Why
was
are
a
you in a
trailhead,
car
actually.
park trying to talk about rights and
Yeah.
freedoms and you parked in a car? Let's keep it 1,000. Let's stop playing games and talking semantics. It's easy to get on the internet and just say, oh, rights and freedoms and all of this shit. If you ain't producing shit in the real world, if you ain't got nowhere to go, if you ain't got no home to go to, that's a fucking man. If you ain't got no fucking place to lay your head at night, how are you a man?
I
Because you
think
got
you
a
garner
guard
more
and you think
sympathy,
you
Brian.
deserve you live in America and you deserve rights and freedoms because you're in America.
Well, actually, you do, but I
Stop the
think
madness, guys.
you
Let's
don't get
stop.
any
Wake
sympathy,
the fuck
Brian,
up
because
and
you
do
started up
something for
under the
yourself.
guise of you were doing all this for rights and freedoms, and apparently you were not. If you don't come in here saying that, I can get behind you, motherfuckers. Fall on hard times, but you're trying to pretend as rights and freedoms, and I'm a patriot.
There
I don't
wasn't
know
shit
if
in
that's
there.
right.
You guys don't even know what you're
I
fighting
think
for.
everyone's definition of what a man is royally fucked up, and they're all wrong.
Amen.
Okay, but
Yeah,
we
I've
can all
lived in a
agree
car.
that when you're 50 years
It's
old
easy-
and
it's
you
easy
live in
when
your
you're
mom's
80.
car
Nice.
at the park, that's a poor example of a man. That's not.
You know,
Let's-
Jesus
thank
didn't
you,
have a
Flo. Let's
home.
be
He
honest.
went from home to home to home.
Yeah,
He was
what
a
about that
talking about
nomad.
philosopher
O'Shea
lived in a jar that we loved so much in a Machine Lab story? He lived in a jar on the side of the street. Pissed in the street, Joe. People
And
couldn't stand him.
maybe someday they'll tell stories about O'Shea and Hugs and religion, but probably
No,
not.
the
Probably
point
he's just,
isn't having material things doesn't make you a man.
having
a functioning man in
Agreed.
You
society
having
is
your own home does not make you a man.
being
Go ahead,
unable,
baby.
Well,
not having the capacity to survive in the world.
That's not a good thing either.
That's not a
exactly.
good thing.
Let's talk about it, Flo.
Hey,
yeah, but you're
It's not,
defining it from
it's
the
not
fact
You can't even
practical.
keep
another
your
Yes,
mom's
it is
man
car
not
tagged.
can tell
practical
you
and it
what to
makes
do.
life difficult, but it does not mean you are not a man.
Does drinking
You
your own
submit,
tea make you not a
comply.
man?
For safety and money, you'll hand over your money. You'll submit and comply and hand over.
You don't have any money to hand
IDs and
over.
shit.
That's
oh
your
my
problem.
God, O'Shea. Oh my God. Hey, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you
got you.
sound drunk.
I don't know why.
Okay. I might have
Okay.
dropped off, but I was
All
trying
right,
to say the
Talcott.
elephant in the room, and O'Shea is like the least funny comedian I've ever seen, other than Bex, who claims to be a comedian. That's hilarious. But the elephant in the room, if you can hear me, is that here's a fucking 49-year-old dude living out of his goddamn mother's 1996 Taurus,
That was a good year.
lurking in a park
Lurking
with
in a
with
park.
shit on the windows, so he's not hidden. I mean, he's like can't be seen, and he's shocked that the cop, the popo, is going to come over there like, bro, what the?
And so what's he
No
do? He
inspection,
calls his
no
daddy.
ID.
So he calls
Oh,
his
he
daddy.
called Paul. Listen, I gotta see this vid. He
Yeah,
called Paul.
and then Paul
Yeah.
was like hilarious. You cannot believe how hilarious that was. Him getting
Besides
all
yelling,
worked
did he
up.
give him advice besides Paul yelling at him? Oh, babe. Did Paul give him some advice?
It was
Oh my
the
God,
worst.
that was
It was
insane.
bad
dude.
advice.
Like
Somebody's
I
about
gotta
to say.
go. It
Horrible.
can't be explained. You just have to watch it. He said a bunch of nonsense. Then he shouted his mantra or his chant on repeat while he was being ignored. And then after it was done, he started crying, talking about how he fucking did some miracle. It's just it's the peak
It
of
was
insanity.
it was insane. It was insane. Like the definition of insanity. We all saw it. It was unbelievable.
These people need padded rooms and lobotomies. It's
You
just
can't
You
make
guys
this
would
shit
never
up.
even
You can't make
do
this shit
anything
up.
like that. You guys would never risk standing up for yourselves, and you just submit and comply. You don't think why you do it. You just
keep
get
saying
scared.
that, O'Shea.
O'Shea, dude, you're living in your goddamn car. Come on, man.
The meek shall
What are you
inherit the
doing?
earth. What do you think they're gonna say to wake you
What
motherfuckers
the
up?
fuck are you doing, dude? Like,
Hey,
come on.
hey, let's,
What are you hiding from? What are you
What do you
running
think the
from?
person that was gonna teach you a lesson is gonna look like? What does he look like? He's got nice groomed hair.
Praise God.
let's take a break from the attack.
I mean, that was so ridiculous.
Well,
it was
RT, yes,
unbelievably
you've
ridiculous.
repeated what you've found many times. There's no reason to keep repeating the same things. It's not going to change it, and the return on investment, the diminishing value, the
I'm with
reactions
you,
you get
baby.
are
I'm
going to
with you.
drop.
We might got more up out of it as much as we could have.
Well,
RT came in clutch.
it's, you know what, I respect bringing it out, pointing out what is true, and that's
That
kind of
was
what I
great.
was getting at to
Yeah.
some degree as well.
I think that shit is healthy, Jack. I
The
think
bigger
that's how people
picture,
bond. I
Joe.
think that made all
I've
these
been
niggas
trying
tighter.
to say something for a while, Joe. Bigger picture. Well, seriously, guys, the bigger picture. How fucking dysfunctional can humanity become before we start doing things to change it? Because it is, in my opinion, I don't like weirdos hanging out at the park where it's supposed to be a place for families to play. I don't like that shit either.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do we help the others in our community who have not found their ways to be of service to the community? Because that is my biggest complaint. Someone wants to talk about rights and freedoms, but really isn't doing much to help others.
Oh,
praise God.
Well, maybe we just say, "Don't do that." Is a good first
Well,
step.
that's a good lesson for you guys. Even the local creep at the park who's just in his car, living in his car, is much more of a man than you fucking scumbags. You guys just sit up here talking in a sewing circle all day.
Oh, that's
You guys are
hilarious,
pussies.
dude.
And then you make fun of someone who on camera stood up for
I'm the
himself
bigger man.
and got taken out of the vehicle forcefully, and you want to
I'm
shit
the
on
bigger
that. You're just
man because I
pussies.
live in a fucking
funny.
I
He
live
said
in
he
a
wasn't
car.
funny.
God,
This nigga's hilarious.
you are delusional, dude. What the fuck are you doing? You're not even funny.
I can't lie. That's kind of the person I am. I'm a clown your ass. If I see some shit, I'm gonna call that shit out off the rip. We can be cool, you know what I'm saying? The next 10 times we could see each other and we can try and build and all of that shit. But if I see some shit off the rip, just some stupid clown ass shit like that, I gotta call that shit out, man. I ain't gonna act like
I gotta do both, though. Right? I gotta do both. It ain't fair. The only way I justify calling it out is because I do the other thing. That's the only way I can justify calling it out is because I'm gonna try and help a guy. So that's why I'm on these panels. I feel fine calling niggas out, but that's because I feel like I do the other thing.
Jack, just play the tape so fucking we could all come to a conclusion.
No.
Hey,
praise God.
Don't do it. Don't do
God.
it. It's really it's horrible.
Hold on, RT. Because of your audio, I'm taking you out first, okay? But I'm feeling it's time to wrap up. 2.5 hours already. You know, these have been wonderful conversations. Brian, you're going to be the next to go. You got anything to offer? Anything?
No, you guys are just a bunch of pussies. Don't stand for shit. Trying to shit on someone who actually stood up for something. You guys are just weak, beta hoes. All right, I'll see you later.
I'll give this guy a hotel room. He needs to go take a shower, wash his ass, and fucking reset. You know what I'm saying? I'll get him a room. He can go wash his ass. You know what I'm saying?
You know
Praise
what?
God. I'm being honest, and we can really have a real conversation to try and get him out of this position. But this whole concept of thinking that you're a man because you don't want to listen to anybody and you don't have to submit to anybody, is
Yeah.
the reason that people get in these positions. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say is I will literally help anybody. You know, I'm gonna clown your ass when I first see you and be like, nigga, you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck you got going out here? I'm gonna make fun of you and laugh at you for a little bit. But
Why do you help
dude,
homeless people and hate Brian? Are they the same person or no? I don't know.
no,
I didn't know
It's
he's still
not that
into the
he's in the
content this
vehicle
conversation
that
started.
he's
I don't know
upset
shit.
about.
no. It's I don't mind helping people. It's when people want to argue me and be in denial that they're in the situation that
I
they're in.
get that you was fighting him. I was digging it. I understand. All that shit was fair to me.
You know what I'm saying? It's some people that'll come to you and be like, hey, I'm fucked up, I'm in a situation, I need help. It's other people to say, hey, I'm a sovereign, I'm a real.
Yeah.
What-
I
It's
was
the
having to
humility
fight him.
part.
It's a
All right.
coping mechanism. I think you're right. And J-Hub, I believe you. I do that you'd be willing to invest in
Of course he would help
getting
anybody.
a hotel and helping a man out. I truly believe that. You know what?
I'll literally talk to him all night. I'm about to drive to Wichita Falls and work like the next 72 hours damn near. I will talk to this guy till he hang up the phone, till his battery dies. You get what I'm saying? I ain't, you know, like I'm just being honest. But it's not for everybody. If he arrogant and already say he got it figured out,
You're right.
I'm gonna
He'll
cuss
never
you out and
accept
laugh at
anything
you.
you
Ha
hear.
ha ha,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
That's what
Amen.
you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Hey, J-Hub, thank you for your. I'm going to toss you out next because you spoke a lot. Okay. Hey, you're muted, but final words? You were saying something.
Praise God. Praise
Amen.
God.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining again. I do truly appreciate. Joe, you spoke probably the most next. So
I am so glad you just let it ride to the end. I know it makes you uncomfortable, but you made my day with them last few minutes, man. I know it was uncomfortable for you. All right, thanks, and you catch me easy.
hey, Joe, much respect to you. And thank you. You know, as the rumor goes, you're part of buying my subscription count. So I owe the celebration to you. Thanks, brother. And Machine Lies, holy cows. I love listening to you. I really do. The wisdom you share, and I don't know, you've got just a beautiful articulation and a beautiful pattern. The way you express it, it moves me. I enjoy what you guys bring. Thoughts? I'll let you guys choose from here. How's that?
Well, I agree. It was very interesting to learn about those things. Like, I haven't read much on Plato and Aristotle, even though I know a lot of the big concepts that come from him. I haven't read specifically their stuff to any real extent. So it is nice to learn about it. I actually have like 3 Plato books I got from the library that I need to read. But our wonderful conversations always seem to end in this sort of debacle over what I don't even think should have even been a battle. Like, you have to really pick and choose what battle you want to fight, and whether or not you're going to give your last name to a police officer doesn't feel like a fight to fight. It just seems like a waste of time. But if that's the ground you want to stand on, okay. I feel like that is just completely unnecessary, and I would just have handed it over and said, "Thank you, officer. Have a good day," and been on my way. To each their own, I guess. Anyways, Jack, thank you as always. This was wonderful. Jesse, nice to see you again. Machine Lies, good to meet you. Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely evening, night, morning, day, wherever the fuck you're at. Peace out.
Thank you, Sarah. Sarah from Mind Fucked. She's got some cool stuff on her channel too. What do you guys think?
I was just upstairs making some food, so I was listening to everything that was going on, but couldn't. I wasn't about to introduce with my phone up there. But awesome job. See y'all later. Next time we see you. May the source be with y'all.
Respect. Thank you, Jesse. God bless. My brother, thank you for making your appearance and sharing some of your wisdom with us.
Yes, of course, anytime. And if Sarah's still listening, I'm definitely around. On Tuesday and Saturday. I have an open format on my show, but you got to get in there early because people pour in there, as you know, and then it, quickly turns to, a mess. But that's how it is in these public forums. And you can only expect. And of course, I had my own public drama here, unfortunately. But try to keep it peace. And yeah, exactly.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Not to highlight your personal issues, but if I may, if there's an opportunity for me to be of support to help communicating, I think I do decent with that. And if I can be of support to you and your life, please allow me an opportunity to try. Okay.
Thank you, brother Talcott. And definitely. I just want to give an invitation to everybody to learn more about these topics. Cynicism, Stoicism. Definitely I'm around to talk more about those. And it's better if people learn together than on their own. I think two heads are always better than one. And I'm happy to read over these things with you guys. I haven't looked at some of these sources for a long time, and I'd be happy to find friends to read them with. Everybody have a blessed night, and thank you for joining us, for real.
Respect. Thank you, brother. And brothers and sisters, seriously, to all of you who did join the panel, thank you. I enjoyed these conversations, these topics, and based on the feedback from the chat, I think there was a lot received as well. And brothers and sisters, in the biggest scope of things, the greater picture, I want to touch on a couple of things. What Machine Lies offers, yes, encouragement. Look into these various philosophies, these different perspectives, views, filters of seeing the world, seeing yourself. Find what works best for you. Find what gives you the most strength, the most clarity, the most joy, really. Sarah made an observation about the definition of a man these days. Yeah, I agree. The idea of what a man is, it's got a lot of different definitions, but in my opinion, in my honest, humble opinion, the example of a man was shown. I'm going to come back to that. J-Hub, thank you, brother. Blessings. The example of a man was shown. It was shown through the characterization, the story of the Christ, but not only him, through many great men have risen. And as a man, we can admire, we can see these other people, examples of history or modern day today. You can admire a man and identify the attributes that you appreciate. See what you can do to emulate, to build upon, to grow that which is good. That which is good, man. Hey, J-Hub, the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. Amen. That is something, that is what was shown. The battle is in our minds, and there is, I truly believe, we're physical beings created by the divine for the purposes of doing the divine's work here in the form, to bring forth that which is divine, to bring forth that which is divine, that which is healing, that which is life bringing, that which is a blessing. And all the battles, all the conflicts, all the fears, all the hate, all the insecurities, all the rebellion, it exists in the mind, right? In the structures of beliefs. And as you go through your day, brothers and sisters, maybe you encounter some authority, right? Authority, that's what we were discussing earlier. Maybe you encounter some authority, maybe you encounter some displeasure, some conflict, some negativity. How you deal with it, how you deal with the circumstances and the moments brought forth into your life, that's what matters. What matters is what you do, what you think, what you say, what you do for you, as you, with you. So, brothers and sisters, surrender to the greater you, the pure you, the loving you, forgiving you, the faithful you that's within, and hold tight to that. You know, please, I do hope if it dropped, it dropped, but I hope, please, the numbers grow. Share and subscribe and join again. Hit the notifications, and I hope to return again. Till next time, brothers and sisters, sincerely, genuinely, thank you. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear.